3, 2.
We good? We're good.
No, not yet. It's still showing now.
Now?
Now.
Hey guys,
That was good.
it's Thursday night. It's 7 o'clock. So that means it's time for Thursday Night Live at the Gun Shop. I hope everybody's had a good week. And, like normal, I'm going to kind of sit here and talk around in circles for a minute while some folks get logged on. You can see I got friends with me tonight. So we are going to have a show.
We'll have a good discussion here. Get your coffee ready, your cold beer, your bourbon, whatever, your H2O, whatever, and enjoy.
Of course, tonight, let me borrow your bag there a minute.
This coffee's so good, too.
Tonight, broadcast is powered by Raptor.
Good stuff.
You
It is so good. Very good.
You see me drink this a lot because it is my favorite of all 5 of our blends. This is my favorite. And I have fun reading the back of the package every once in a while. It's been a while since I did it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it again tonight.
Eric said, hey, y'all.
Hey, Eric.
What up, Eric?
This coffee blend, born in the Costa Rican rainforest, is exactly the elixir that you need when hunting the ravenous coffee raptors.
I love it.
Stay alert, stay awake, stay alive. Raptor.
The radio
You
ad.
like my little, like the way I finished it? I was like,
I do.
The radio ad is even better.
So,
love it.
David Eno said, hey, y'all.
hey, David, let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest. Our guests are kind of like home folks.
Yeah, friends.
Yeah. To my left, your right, is Derek Whitson.
Hello.
And to my right, your left, is John Kendall.
Hi.
And kind of give you guys an idea, we're going
Who are you?
Yeah, who's this guy?
I'm nobody. Wasn't that a movie? My Name's Nobody?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the best movie ever.
Mr. Nobody?
Ever.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a movie.
Great.
Great movie.
Yeah.
So, or it could be, you remember years ago, I believe it was Sunrise, car lot down at Memphis, he said, nobody beat,
Nobody.
everybody will be nobody. And he come on and
On
says,
the radio.
I'm Mr. Nobody.
Mr. Nobody. Yep. Yep. Spent a little bit of time down there. Had some cousins that lived in Whitehaven, Memphis, and so when we were kids, growing up, spent a little time there. So I remember those commercials. Sure do.
The little bit of time I was out of the industry and I was working sales desk at the Chrysler store at Wolf Chase.
Probably didn't last long for Tom. He's not that tight. He's a trigger guy.
It was tough.
Yeah, I bet.
One of the guys on the desk with me had been the used car manager for Sunrise.
Oh yeah.
And man, he told me a lot of stories about Bob Burkheimer. That was Mr. Nobody, by the way.
Mr. Nobody. Bob Burkheimer.
That was him. Lots of stories, but we're not going to get into those.
Yeah. We're gonna tell some different stories.
We're going to talk about good, cool stories. So, guys, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on our random thoughts section tonight because I want to get right into the show.
Sure.
Sure, we'll have a lot of random thoughts come out.
But
I have a lot of random thoughts that cannot even be discussed here. Cannot even be discussed right now.
guys, well, normally we try to keep it rated G. Sometimes it'll pop up to a soft R.
Soft R.
If we can keep,
PG-13.
if we can
I'll do
keep,
my best.
if we can
I'll
keep
do my best.
PG-13 tonight,
That's a warning for me, straight up. That's a warning for me.
Not calling
Tell you
anybody
right
out.
off the bat. He's like, Derek. Okay. It's hilarious.
You know.
I got it. So funny.
it's been a minute.
Noted.
If I talk about NRA, we may get to hard R.
I may have to put my hand over his mouth.
You
Yeah.
might.
I may have to stop him.
I might have to beep really loud.
That's my job. That's why I'm here.
You're the beeper.
You're the beeper.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Gracious.
It's a good time. I'm loving the vibe already.
So anyway, what have we got happening this week in the industry? Well, we got President Trump signed the executive order we all been waiting to hear about.
Preserving the Second Amendment.
And really we got 24, 23, 24 more days to see how this is going to play
Right,
out
yeah.
because you all know I have very serious reservations with Pam Bondi.
Yeah, and a lot of people
And,
do. A lot of gun owners,
you
and,
know,
and
I
Second
don't
Amendment advocates
just
do.
like Miss Bondi. Actually, she's a pretty lady.
She's a fire starter too.
But you know, her track record with what she did as AG in Florida just
Yeah,
wasn't Second Amendment friendly.
yeah, not all the way for sure. She's,
And you know, a lot of the things that Trump has told her to investigate, charged her to investigate and come up with answers for,
Yeah.
are the same things that she's already supported in Florida.
and directly towards the ATF too.
And you know, what makes it interesting, those are the things President Trump promised us
Last
he-
go round.
he was going to get rid of
Yeah,
this time. You know, those, you know, the 18 to 20-year-old, which, you know, we already got multiple federal court decisions saying you can't discriminate.
right.
I think the Supreme Court even handed something down on that, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm not sure of it. I don't want to speak something I don't know.
That's why I won't
but
say it for
but
sure.
I know it's in the process of that.
But I
They're
know
working on it.
we got multiple federal court rulings
Oh yeah.
and state court rulings that say you can't do this. And I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic, not only in the firearms world, but what about being able to buy beer?
Yeah. I mean,
Or a
I
pack of
couldn't agree more.
cigarettes.
If you can go to war at 18, you should be able to drink a beer at 18.
You
You
know?
can fire a machine gun in war, you should be able to buy beer at 18. That's just my thought.
Or if you've been overseas and
Exactly.
you've been fighting and you come back to the U.S. and you come in here to buy you a shotgun to go dove hunting with,
Right.
and they're going to hold it for 11 days.
Makes no sense. And if you're, I don't even want to talk about it. Yes. Yes.
Y'all gonna get all
I'll
fired
just,
up?
I'll just stop. Yeah,
Beep.
I just quit. I mean, in other countries, the legal limit, and there's not even a legal limit in some countries, you know, for drinking alcohol. You have kids drinking in Germany.
Well, I mean,
Not to say that's the best thing,
No.
but I'm just saying, you know, you come back and then it's like, oh, I can't even buy a Budweiser. Come on, man.
or like I said, you can't buy your shot. If you get a shotgun to go dove hunting with, you know, it's 10, 11, 12 days, and it's illegal.
Yeah.
And
Come on now.
And
So-
the thing is, they have it approved that day. They just don't give you the approval
Yeah,
number.
you have to wait. You know,
and the thing is, you know, you've already got multiple courts says, hey, that's illegal. You can't do that.
unconstitutional.
So let's try to veer back on course.
Right, right.
Because I can get on that one and holler for a while.
Keep it
Y'all
between
breathe.
the navigational
All right, I'm
beacons.
good.
Yes.
All right, back. Game
So
face.
we do have that executive order. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens when the Attorney General's office brings their reports into the president
Definitely.
and what the president does with it. That's going to be interesting. You know, we had Tulsi Gabbard getting confirmed yesterday, and RFK Jr.
Yep.
confirmed today. Now we just need to get Kash Patel.
I do like cash.
That's
Yes.
gonna be something.
Yep.
With him at the head of the FBI, it's
dream
going
team.
Oh God,
it's going to be
Yeah.
destruction.
like it should be.
Yeah. I mean,
in a
you
good,
know,
in the
in
best
good-
possible sense of the word.
Right.
so much dishonorable stuff's been going on for years and years, and everybody knows it. You know, it's just like, where do we stop? Where does the line? Where is the line drawn? You know?
Well, now you got a team of people that's willing to say this
Enough.
is wrong, and we're not dealing with
Yeah,
this
enough.
anymore. And that's what we've needed the whole time.
I agree.
Other things within the industry right now that, you know, it's not a lot of new stuff to talk about within the industry.
Well, so something I seen from SHOT Show 2025. I've got a friend who's in the industry and keeps me like informed about everything. Something I might be interested in. He's like, hey, I think you're gonna like this. One thing he said is everything was Glock this year. Everything taking a Glock mag. You know, everything Glock compatible. You know, now I love Glocks. You know, it's a known thing. Probably have an unhealthy fascination with them, but you know. I think it's a good thing, but that's what he said. He said everything was a Glock of a Glock of a Glock. Everything was reverted.
or trying to merge a
try to
1911
emulate.
in a Glock.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like with the staccato, you know, P4, the HD, like Everything was Glock oriented, and he's like, man, Glock sticking to their tried and true method, simplicity. Not making a lot of changes, maybe a little grip changes, maybe a little serration changes, whatever. Reliability stays the same. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But he said everything was like primarily revolving around Glock, the whole show.
That, people trying to come out with different variations on the lever gun.
Right.
But there was really nothing new this year.
Yeah.
Um,
I would say this year, 2025, is the year of the comps. Would you agree with that? Like everything's a comp. Everything, like
Everybody's
everybody
going.
released a comp of some kind.
It's kind of back to being like 1997, 1998.
I know
again.
that's what I was going to say.
great
I
arms race.
was obviously pretty young then, but I remember comps being popular.
Yeah,
And competition.
you
and
had the,
shooters and all. red dots on pistols.
They were
Yeah.
this big.
Yeah.
What was it the
Yeah, the
Tasco
Seymour
or-
optics.
The Tasco
There,
AccuPoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like this big.
Yeah. This long on a pistol. Yeah.
I remember we would get guys in machine shops to make a 1911 grip panel. They'd machine a 1911 grip panel out of aluminum that come up and give you a rail
Yeah.
sitting
Yeah,
over the top of the
over the top.
gun.
Mhm. Yeah,
and you
come
would-
up both sides. Yeah.
Basically a
goodness.
pick rail or
Right.
a weaver.
And when you look at that, how
God's gun and the
technology's
red dot, what more
changed and
could you want?
everything, it's amazing at where we've gotten to. It's really amazing. You have the, of course, you have the milled slides and everything, and now you've got the Glock COA or COA that's come out. Like it's always evolving. It's going to get stronger. It's going to get tougher. It's interesting, but like you said, this is no new thing. This is no new thing. This is just something that's taken off with a different generation.
Yeah, it's we can go back to 1895.
I can't go back that far.
Me either.
I don't know
It's
who
a little
can.
before
I mean,
my time.
I'm
was it like
interested,
then,
but
Tom?
I don't remember those.
Well, let me tell you, in the summer where we didn't have an air
Where'd you get
conditioner,
your
it sucked.
trousers?
That's when y'all built those big hallways
Yeah,
over everything.
you made sure the windows opened.
Right.
We've
That's
got-
why he had 7 kids, so they could all wave a fan at the same time.
Yeah, he said,
circulate the
I
air.
had my Air Jeremiah's on, walking in the field.
Oh my goodness.
My Air Elijah's.
His Nazareth.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny.
Oh boy,
We've had Grant
All right.
Singleton join us,
Hey,
Tim
Grant.
Thomas, Joe Pruitt.
Tim, Joe. So, there's been some interesting takes on the lever action, but again, like I said, you go back to 1895, 1899. You saw Winchester and Savage were doing it then.
Yeah.
You know,
With the 1895 Winchester lever gun, then the Savage Model 99.
Even renamed today, 1895.
You see, they were, so
there you go.
again, it's,
And I think the lever guns, the cool thing about it is the lever guns were ahead of the potential, like all the mods you can do to them now was kind of ahead of the potential of a Kamala Harris
oh yeah.
United States.
Well, you think about the guys that don't live in a free state, and that's all they have access
exactly.
to. Like,
Yeah.
what are you to do?
and you know what's
I
funny?
think it's great.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing that's funny is you go back, and I know you guys were,
We lads.
y'all were probably shitting green.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But
I feel old over here.
That was yesterday.
if you go,
Did I see you at Taco Bell?
Oh, it's funny.
we,
Me too.
back then, you take early mid 90s, we were taking lever guns and figuring out, we were taking and screwing weaver bases to the wood.
Yeah, because that's what you had to do.
And we'd put
To
a
get
weaver,
an optic
and
on
we'd put a weaver, no, on the wood of the forearm,
Oh, okay.
and then we'd put a weaver ring on that, and we would find a flashlight
Yeah.
that was an inch, and tighten the weaver ring down on it, so we had a light on the side of our lever gun.
Making it work. And that's where these ideas come from. That's where this evolution of
something new every
things
day.
and these products come is from ideas just like that. That's how evolution comes in the industry.
Necessity.
Yeah.
Grant said that he said, "LOL, levers are slow as Biden."
Oh, it's funny.
He's never seen one.
Only if you
anyone
don't
run one
shoot
right.
them a lot.
Yeah.
Only if you've never run one.
And
You know, if you're one of those guys that only has right finger dexterity,
Dexterity, great
and
word.
you can't
Great
make your
word.
wrist work, you can only do this.
just this.
And Grant's got a little flair to his wrist.
Just a little.
Oh,
That's funny.
you gonna let them get away with that, Grant?
We are live. That's pretty funny. That's good stuff.
Well, no takebacks.
No,
That's funny.
that's the cool thing about doing this live
Right.
is if you're like me, you have no filter, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he did warn us. He was like, "Hey, we try to keep this G and then soft
Slightly
R."
below F rated.
God, that was hilarious. Soft R.
Travis Landrum's joined us.
It's great.
Travis, brother, great to have you. Oh, damn, I'd love to see you. I really would.
Grant said his wrist works great.
That's good.
Oh, I love Grant.
But when I come in this afternoon, or excuse me, when I come in last week and you asked me to join, you're like, hey, what are you doing next Thursday? I was like, man, I'd love, and you asked me to come be a guest, dude. That I really appreciate that, because one thing I want to say is thank you to you, thank you to Stephanie, thank you to Lance, because when you come in here, I speak for myself, like I've always felt very welcome, just like family. I love the way the interaction is of like, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this, and always willing to, deal, trade, whatever. Like that's a big deal. Like you don't get that everywhere. You don't get that everywhere. You don't get that feeling of welcomeness and humility everywhere. And I hate to say it, but sadly, it seems like it's kind of fleeting, like it's kind of going away.
I've never came through the door and somebody not immediately greet me here.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah,
whether
that's a
it's
big
Lance
deal.
or-
So when Tom was like, hey, would you be interested in doing this? I said, absolutely. I greatly appreciate it. So I want to say thank you to all of y'all and everybody that works here for the invite.
To me, having both you guys here and the stuff that we're going to get into here in a little bit,
It'll be a good time.
the stuff we're going to share, guys, we got to come in some. We're
Yeah,
getting
just a
too
little
far
bit.
apart. We got to like each other.
Derek's falling off over
Am I
here.
falling off?
You two are
Look,
good.
I haven't touched your knee yet.
Don't kiss
There
me.
you go.
That's right.
Yet.
But some
Three's
of,
company.
There you
Come
go.
and knock on our
some
door.
of the things that we're going to talk about tonight, the information that we're going to give people, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your willingness to share because, man, you guys have put lots of time, lots of money, lots of effort, lots of years into the knowledge that you're going to share tonight.
Yeah. Just being safe and getting better. Consistency.
This goes back a lot to, we're going to pick up from last week on what makes an accurate rifle. And we're going to go a long way with that.
And I'm drinking coffee, so I'm gonna have to pee like 4 times, 5 times. Whatever. So like, if I just disappear, it is what it is.
It's not the first time.
Yeah, just
At least you won't be wearing your mic like I did.
yeah.
a couple of weeks ago.
Like
My fake
that's
will
gonna
be floating
happen.
here in a minute.
Like I've got the smart water and I've got the coffee. Like I'm
The
gonna have
smart
to-
water doesn't help you anymore.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, I mean, it's just what she had. She's like,
Yeah.
"Here, take this water."
She's trying to help, but I don't know if it will help.
She
gonna
give you
make me
expensive
smarter.
water though.
It's not gonna make me smart.
Jonathan has told us that it won't make me any smarter if I drink it. I mean, and
So-
Jonathan knows.
All right, well,
John knows.
Right.
Yeah.
Lance's son.
yeah, it's so funny. Yeah,
So anyway,
Grant said, "Talk about my wrist?" Question mark.
another time.
Beep.
Another time.
Beep.
Can't get distracted.
Beep. There you go, Tom. You got it. You got it now. Derek, you're not doing your job.
Just stop by tomorrow and we'll talk about your wrist, Grant.
Yeah,
Yeah, what time do we close again?
hilarious.
so, we're going to get back a lot of tonight's. We're going to finish up from last week. We're going to talk about what makes an accurate rifle. We're going to talk about, and we're going to round that out with how to adjust the nut on the trigger. Because if you don't get that nut adjusted, the
You're
rest of it
talking
doesn't.
about,
The rest of it really doesn't matter.
and you're not talking about an.
I feel like I'm a
physical
nut and John's a nut, and that would make Tom the. Just saying. Just saying.
Well,
No.
Good Lord.
I didn't say anything I shouldn't.
Here's the
He
here
opened the door.
here's
we
the
go.
here's the one thing. That means Tom has the most fun.
There you go. I love it. Well, I'm
Yeah,
having a
yeah,
blast.
you
This
got
is
to-
what we're supposed to do.
You stay out in the cold, and I go into the warm.
I love it. I love it.
We're floating
That's
right
funny.
at that
That's
water
funny.
level.
Yeah,
Grant said, y'all all hugging.
it's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm glad I work alone today.
It's funny.
I'm just glad you put on deodorant.
Well, when I put it on, people like to get real close to
There
me,
you
so
go.
I generally shy away.
All right.
Are we going to make it
So,
through
we're
tonight's
gonna-
episode?
we are
I
going to
don't
make
know.
it.
There was
Deep
something
breath,
about guns
level out.
somewhere.
Right. We have a gun right here.
Yes, it's a very nice gun.
We can
so
only see part of it. We can't
here's
see
the thing.
great part
Oh,
of
we
it.
can
we're
steal
gonna
it.
we're gonna wrap this back around to the reason we started this show,
Yeah.
and that is to countermand the effect of so-called gun tubers. And not all of them are bad. Okay, there are some really good people out there.
Yeah, but there's a lot of bad information.
But unfortunately, for every one that's doing good, there's 27 doing bad.
Grant said you're the middleman.
True. I thought we're getting serious.
had to- I'm
Maintain
sorry.
it,
That's okay,
maintain it.
Tom.
It's
Mine
Grant's
makes you the
fault. It's
pillar.
Grant's
My
fault.
name,
You're doing
my
good.
name is Richard.
Oh,
Exactly. That's hilarious.
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, my forehead's sweating. Here we go.
So, we're going to try to put information out there that is good quality information. It's information that these two guys and myself have spent close to a lifetime trying to acquire. And
Well, you have that information. The one thing about the internet or YouTube is everybody's an expert. Everybody's got an opinion, and that's fine.
Yeah.
More power to you. But what I tell people is a lot of times when people come, when they seek me out for training, it's like, a lot of times they come to me and they've got all these crazy ideas that they've seen on YouTube from, no disrespect at all, but like Grand Thumb is awesome. Lucas Botkin is awesome. Like, these channels are very entertaining. These guys are talented, but it's like you're not going to become that overnight. You're not going to become that in 2 days. Like, you need to slow down. Like, let's make sure you're safe with a pistol first, And they have this. They want to keep up with the industry. Well, first of all, unless you're a millionaire, you're not going to keep up with the industry. Like, you're going to get divorced, and you're going to, you're going to
lose your home, lose your car, lose your
whatever, because you're prioritizing things that are meaningless, right? Yeah. So what I tell people is take a deep breath and get the hell off YouTube. Like watch it for entertainment, take it for what it is. There's lots of good information there. We all know that. I'd say we agree with it. But when you try to keep up and you want to live, you want to, you're making, $15 an hour or per se, and you want to buy a $3,000 Glock. I mean, come on, man. Like, be smart about this,
And, I say that all the time from a guy that builds.
Just for the look, not to shoot it, just for the look.
And, if I build a rifle, it's $3,000 to $5,000.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, but you're very, you know what you're looking for, and you know what you're looking. Exactly. You're meticulous about what you're putting together, and your demand for accuracy is gonna require that.
And I will tell people, and I tell people all the time, they'll come in, can you do this, can you do this? I'm like, look, you don't need one of my rifles right now.
Right.
Let's look at this.
Yeah. Let's look at this Savage. Let's look at this Tika. Whatever it might be, and let's start there.
Let's get where when you get to where you take this setup, and you go get some training, learn to shoot it. Mm-hmm. When you get to where you're out shooting this rifle,
which never really, it doesn't happen much.
Doesn't
Most
happen
people don't
much.
dedicate themselves on that level.
But when you get to that point, come back, and it's time for me to build you a rifle.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have a custom built rifle from someone who knows what they're doing, like that rifle's going to outshoot you every single time.
Yeah. Well, that's the
And then
difference between you and a lot of people is you'll say that and you'll steer a customer or potential customer in the right direction. A lot of people will say if you don't have this, you cannot achieve X, Y, or Z goal.
Yeah.
No.
And that's where the robbery, in my opinion, comes into play because
real.
I was that guy. Mm-hmm. I've not been in this as long as you guys. Mm-hmm. And you know, you jump on there and you see somebody shooting a you know, a $5,000 custom 1911, and you think from the way that they speak, you cannot do this unless you have this gun.
Buying the skill.
Yeah,
per
you
se.
cannot buy skill.
You can't buy it. No.
But if you don't know any better, like me,
But,
what,
you know,
what are you to think? So then you go hawk a bunch of stuff that would have served you just as well 5 times or 10 times even, trying to buy something that takes thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds behind
Yeah, repetition.
the gun
Dedication to the gun.
with proper instruction.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
agree.
it's like,
So that's truth and that's honor.
you know,
That's the
there's. I showed up. I showed up for a match one day. It's qualifier, getting ready. Actually, getting ready for the nationals. Yeah, national or world shoot. I can't remember. It's one or the other.
Pretty serious either way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've not been to either one of those.
and I showed up with a. Listen, no BS. You guys may be too young to remember, but I'm sure you've seen them. The Argentine-made Browning high powers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just like the Argentine Colt 1911s too.
Yeah, the Ballester Molina. But anyway, I had an Argentine-made high power. Only thing done to the gun is I had disconnected the magazine safety because I can't stand that.
So it would fire with one without the magazine.
Correct. Well, that's also
He
the,
was thinking from a combat perspective.
that's also the equivalent of doing a trigger job on it when you get that stuff where it's not dragging on things.
That's right.
Right. You're not dragging
What the trigger should
a
have been
rock
on.
Right.
at the bottom of
Right. So that's the only thing I've done with the gun. Stock sight, stock everything. Showed up, shot the qualifier, shot one of the best runs I ever shot. So of course walked away with the qualifier, which put me in for the whichever it was, nationals or world shoot. But I shot that gun through. I know I went to the nationals. I know I went and shot the world shoot. But I shot that same gun.
So you mean to tell me that if you spend time with it and you shoot and you train with it, you can.
Isn't that a wild concept, John?
You don't have to spend $25,000 on gear.
Isn't that wild?
Now, I did not win the others, and you know when you start, you know at that time, if you was competing at the level of a Jerry Barnhart or a Robbie Latham or a Brian Enos, some of these guys, that's when those high end guns make a difference. When you need that,
Little extra.
you know,
skosh more.
0.2 of a second,
Yep.
because you know 0.4 of a second separates first from third.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, when you get to those guys' level, that's when it matters. But you know, in my stage, in my category where I was shooting, like I said, I didn't win the nationals. I didn't win the world. Never won either one of them.
But you competed and had a good time, and
But-
you have a story there.
He competed in the soft soft R category.
There you go. Yeah, star category.
But you know, I shot in the top 10 of the nationals, and I shot in the top 4% of the world.
So let's talk about why you were able to do that.
Lots
Obviously,
and lots and lots and lots of trigger time.
Yep.
And when
That is the whole thing to this.
and I'll tell
That's a
you,
crazy concept, and
and you know, at that time, you had guys like Robbie, like Jerry, that I remember first time I showed up for the world shoot, the world still challenge over in Missouri. You know,
Yeah. If it's still and it goes bing, I love it.
yeah.
so
I'm about it.
You know, I show up, I'm shooting a freaking pretty much stock 1911,
God's gun.
and
In God's caliber.
Yeah, that's exactly.
you know.
have
Literally,
them
I'm loading I'm pulling my magazines out of my back pocket. I'm not even using the magazine holder.
What?
My magazines are in my back pocket.
Back pockets hold magazines.
Empty,
And,
first pee break. There I go.
So
I'm still with you. I'm not going with him this time.
where
This time.
I go out and I didn't shoot that great. I shot okay because I was still shooting in amateur class. I wasn't shooting in pro class. Shooting in amateur class. That's I scored in the top 25%.
I mean, that's that's still a
But,
large margin to be in, though.
I remember walking off the range. As I was walking off the range, this guy comes up and puts his hand on my shoulder. He said, "Man, you made a really nice run." And I turn around, it's Rob Latham.
Yeah, that's humbling, isn't it?
And I'm like, "Thank you."
Yeah, I don't really have
Thank-
words to say.
Thank you, Mr. Superman.
Right.
But he said, "Dude, if you will just slow down."
Oh, now you're talking foolishness, Tom.
He said, "Man, if you'll just slow down, you'll win this division."
To have the emotional intelligence to slow yourself down and actually hit the target. You mean to tell me that that will cause you to do better than people that miss
Yes.
by going?
Yeah.
That's
And-
insanity, Tom.
There's a practice range. So we go over there. Rob walks over. He says, "Come over here with me." He says, "Watch me." And he slowed everything down where, a human can see it. Because
Yeah.
because when
'Cause
Robbie,
it's Robbie.
when Robbie slows it down, it's like I've seen this man draw, fire, hit a target, put the gun back in his holster in a quarter second.
Robbie Latham.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's talking about.
Amazing shooter.
The Superman. So Robbie, we go over
the
to the practice
prodigy.
range, and he's like, "Watch, man." So he slows it down where the human eye can see it.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, he'd have to for me.
Yeah, I had to for me. And I got two eyes.
Yeah, well, I do not.
More on that later.
So, he drops his hand to his
She's
gun.
choked up. She
He
can't
drops
handle
his
it.
hand to his gun. He sweeps it. He's bringing it up. And he's never in a hurry.
Seamless.
Never in a hurry. He says, "Man, smooth is fast."
And I'm
You
sure
think he practiced that 4 or 5 million times?
Yeah, that's what I was
At
going to say. Yeah.
a day.
Yeah,
Today.
that sounds
So
right.
he's like, "Smooth is fast." So I took what he told me, and then actually Jerry Barnhart had some words of encouragement. And so I took what these guys told me. I went back. I worked on it for a year. Only thing I
Man,
worked.
that's I mean that right there, like a year. It's a lot of time, but it's not.
I
You
took.
know,
I
it
took.
depends on his dedication.
I would
what
be.
you did.
I would be
shot-
willing to bet when he came back, it was a thoughtless process.
I shot
Exactly.
every day.
Yep.
That
There you
year,
go.
I
That's
shot
what I mean,
every
right
day.
there. Yep.
Thoughtless process.
John Riss Perez said, "Where did Uncle Daryl go?" Toby.
Had to go pee.
Um,
They already know. Yeah. Got a
So-
bladder like this big.
you know,
Coffee and water.
so I go.
Well, that's age.
I shoot.
There you go. Yeah.
I shot for a year. I took nothing. I didn't work on anything except what Robbie and Jerry told me to do.
Yeah. Okay. So
The
why
greats.
did you work on that? Because these were experts in
These-
their craft.
Yes,
Right.
I mean Robbie
Asinine.
is nobody's beat Robbie's records yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet that they ain't going to.
And the fact that it was humbling to me because I was just in my early 20s, and I was just some guy. I wasn't anything. I was just some guy from Tennessee
Who loved to shoot.
who showed up, and they decided that they would take a little bit of their time, and that's the one thing we never get back. If you give somebody your
Absolutely.
time,
Yep.
that's something that's not renewable.
Yeah, you can't put a price on time.
But they would give me a little of their time and a little of their knowledge. Then I better take what I can get and do what I can with it.
Yeah. And if you
Dealing with the best in
apply
the world.
yourself to their method, you're going to see the reward downrange.
So I went back. That was the last year I shot in the amateur.
He said, amateur last year shot.
That was the last year I got to shoot in the amateur because of the performance.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I perform at amateur level.
Did you hate yourself for doing that to yourself?
No, but here's the real funny part, and we got to get to the night show topic. I got to quit telling stories, but it's at
That's
that
how we
time,
go.
at that time,
No time with Uncle Tom.
it was video and things was a really big deal. You had to have these big ass cameras.
Now I'd give $1
And-
million for them all to go away.
Right?
Yeah. It's still a
But-
big deal.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal.
hilarious.
Just like
But I mean,
Ron
if
Burgundy.
to have to be able to watch something back on video.
Oh, dude.
So there's this clubhouse, right? And later that evening, I'm walking through the clubhouse and I look in and they're watching the tape from the shoot.
You're like,
What are y'all doing?
Yeah.
And I'm watching this guy, man. This guy is fucking smoking.
And you can't say send that
Tom,
to me.
you were a little late on the beat.
Well, I didn't see it coming.
Translation, he was very fast.
Yes.
Yes.
This guy is smoking, right?
shit.
I'm seeing magazine changes, and I'm like, doggone, that guy's fast. Who's that? And then everybody started laughing, and Rob goes, "Hey, that's you.
You're like,
Dang.
That's you," because I had practiced for a
dab
year.
out. Right. Yeah, it was me.
I had practiced for a year,
I can't do
not
that,
getting
bro.
in a hurry. Never felt like I'm in a
Oh
hurry.
my God, dude! If I had $1 for every time I heard "slow down"
From me.
I could buy a new eye.
Slow down, John.
Oh my God!
I had practiced for a solid year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I could buy 3 of them and keep them in glass cases.
I mean, I've said it to him
oh my God!
at least 1,000 times.
So,
A day.
Slow down, John.
A day.
it was
So
just
you know why you miss that? Slow down.
Slow down.
going too fast.
Yeah.
But it was just like
Trying to shoot above where I was.
the whole time I'm
Everybody's
shooting.
done it.
The whole time I'm shooting, I'm like, grip the pistol, draw the pistol, press the pistol,
Push the gun where I'm looking.
and
Fire.
Yeah.
and
Repeat.
still fell down.
Don't duck your head.
Adrian said it's a nice rig on the counter.
Ain't it?
So, that's going to tie into what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But we need to get to what we're going to talk about. So, pick it
Do
up.
we? I don't have a curfew. I don't
no.
know about anybody else.
I'm
has a
good. I
curfew.
mean,
don't
if
have
I
a curfew.
if I show up for work tomorrow, I mean, you can give me a job if I if I don't have one.
I'm off.
Yeah, Derek's off. Andy don't have to work tomorrow.
And he's single. So there's nobody waiting at home.
Is he?
I don't know. He said he was.
Well, that's why I
I'm not
showed
married.
up.
I'm not married.
He's not married.
Yeah. Well, he ain't gonna have no skin on his head either.
Or hair.
Or hair. Yeah.
So last week we spent time talking about the different parts of the rifle.
Here we go. We're going. We're on the road now.
Yeah, well, while
That-
I do this, I'm gonna pee.
That
It's big boy talk.
helps make a rifle accurate. How do we build an accurate rifle? We talked about action, barrel. We talked about having a stable platform or chassis or stock, a good trigger, all of these things. And I apologize, I can't think of the guy's name, but he wrote us a pretty long paragraph on YouTube, kind of about why I was wrong.
Oh yes.
That happens. On YouTube.
And
You gotta love those guys.
here's the thing.
Everybody's got an opinion.
Everything that he said was correct. He just misunderstood what I said.
Right. Yeah. And you have that a lot of times too.
So I want to correct that so everybody understands. And the point that he was making is the quality of the barrel is more important than anything else. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it is one of the very most important parts.
For sure.
And I talked about the quality of the barrel and the quality of the chamber. Okay? And I think he understood me to say that the chambering was more important than the quality of the barrel, and that's not what I was trying to say. You can have a great quality barrel like this Bartland right here. This is a Bartland.
I love that barrel.
This is a Bartland. It was turned for us about like all of our barrels by Craddock Precision.
It was in here earlier.
He
Yep,
was.
it was here with us earlier. But all of our barrels come through Craddock Precision. But I can take this wonderful barrel and do a crappy job with the chamber.
And it's still going to seat around. How you, in the most optimal way.
No, if it's a crappy job on the chamber, it's not.
Right. Well, I'm being facetious.
Yeah.
But I'm just,
It may or may not even shoot. May be able to headspace it. May not be able to headspace it. You may have too long a throat, too short a throat.
well,
you
what I was gonna turn back around to is on YouTube. In the YouTube world, everybody's got an opinion. They can say, "Oh, I got one. It's sloppy. You can't even hardly boat it, but it shoots .50."
Then
You know what I mean?
you got the one exception. Kind of like that old 700. I think I showed it to you. That old 700 that come through here that I got from the old man that had gotten so old he couldn't hunt no more and wanted to take it on one last deer hunt.
I don't guess I know about that.
Well, it's 30-06 700 BDL,
The BDM, classic.
and it's from probably the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, and the barrel looked like a stovepipe or a sewer pipe.
Yeah, rifling shot out.
It's freaking potholes going down the barrel.
Yeah.
And I took the gun, I threw a scope on the gun, took it out there, put it on the bench, trying to see if I could get
You're
something.
like, it looks like a shotgun bore.
And no, shotgun bore looked really good. This had holes in it, dude.
Oh, wow.
Oh goodness.
Not pits, holes.
Oh
And
my.
I shot the gun at 100 yards, got it zeroed, and then it stuck 5 rounds in that.
And you're like, wow, I'm not going to touch this.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. A wise man once said, if the gun is shooting good, leave
Leave
it
it
alone.
alone. Don't blue it. Don't redo the stock. Don't change the scope.
That would be Mr. Benji Isbell. Taught me that when we started shooting
mine
again. He
was-
told me, leave it alone.
Mine was Mr. E.C. McDonald.
There you go. You know, and I have to give a lot of credit too, because I only started shooting long range, you know, in rifles, bolt guns, just a couple years ago. And 2 guys that you know, Benji Isbell and Chris Chisholm, they took the time, showed me about this. I didn't really have a lot of interest in it. And they were
Until
like,
you started hitting things at a mile.
well, I have never shot a mile, but they were like, hey, just come here one day and just shoot this. Well, the next thing you know, it's the first day I've ever shot. I lay down behind a Creedmoor, shoot 600, then I shoot 800. First 2 shots, I'm like, oh my God. I'm just holding what they said, you know, and I'm like, there's something to this. Bought 2 rifles. The first time I ever purchased a rifle, bought a 6.5 Creedmoor and a 223, both Tikas, which I love Tikas. And like, still shooting those guns, like, dude, it's like once you become interested in it, you dedicate yourself to it, and you begin to, you know, to get serious about it, and you know, you dedicate yourself to it, like it becomes an obsession if you really want to do it. But you got to spend time with the rifle, and you got to shoot it. You got to shoot it and shoot it and shoot
Hold
it.
that
And shoot
thought. Because you're getting into where I want to go next.
That's right.
So, finishing up on the hardware. Okay.
Your base.
Got to have a good barrel. You got to have a good chamber. They have to go together. Just like a good action, just like a good chassis, just like a good trigger.
Makes all those components make a good rifle.
Every part, like I explained last week, plays its part. And when you put them together, they're greater than the total of their parts. But the other things we didn't talk about last week is like when you put it in the chassis or the stock, making sure the stock bolts
All the same.
and they're torqued to the proper specs.
Yep, because you can over torque them, it's going to do something ridiculous. You under torque them, it's going to do something
It's got,
ridiculous.
right. So making sure that you're getting the torque on the screws the same, making sure that you're torquing. You'd be surprised what we find in the gunsmith shop. People putting bases on.
Yeah, well, I mean, and most people are good and tight is good enough. No, there's a spec for a reason.
There's a spec for a reason. When you put the screws in the cap on the rings, there's a spec for that. There's a torque spec.
Yep. And there's a reason for that.
Because if it's too loose, the scope moves in the rings. If you get it too tight, you can actually damage the tube of the scope, and it won't track properly.
Nope, that's right. And see, these are things that unfortunately, people learn by trial and error, or they don't learn by trial and error. But if you just follow those torque specs to the line, you should be okay.
Reading the manual.
There you go. Ooh, that's a concept.
Most
So-
men don't
I'm
do
sorry,
that.
I didn't mean to say that.
Most men do not read the manual.
Depends on the manual.
Depends on the man.
So, the point is, like I said last week, what makes an accurate rifle is attention to detail. And that's every detail, whether it's the stock bolts, whether it's the mount screws, whether it's the cap screws, whether it's, there is a set amount of torque that should be on the rings to the base.
Yeah. And if you read it, it's in your rings. Like, it's in your description. They're telling you what to do.
If you're running like the gun in front of us, we're going to run cans, and most everything I shoot is going to have a can on it.
Oh, yeah.
Having precision threads.
So to lock up right and
Yeah,
all those
because
pressures
I
and
mean,
everything.
I know a lot of great machinists that can machine basically anything, but they may not know how to machine a rifle barrel for threads for a suppressor.
Well, let me ask you this. So all the things you're talking about, how many times, probably innumerable, How many times have you seen somebody come back with a rifle, set it down, and go, "This thing won't shoot," because it's mounted all wrong?
Every day. Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, it was a loaded question, obviously.
know.
But it's just like, I know it happens all the time. I mean, I have it happen, People are like, "This thing won't shoot worth a shit." I'm like, okay, and I do just what you say. I check, first thing I see, this is loose. This is loose. The rings are loose. There's something going on. These are the action
I
screws
grab
are loose.
this and it's
All these different things. You check those. So what I do, I check them, get them to spec, find the specs, whether it's internet or they actually have the paperwork. Please, God, keep your paperwork.
Yes.
Like when you get a scope
Who
or whatever,
keeps gun boxes?
like
That's-
read all that stuff. So once I get it torqued and I get it right, and I'm not into this like you are, or as long as you are. And then you know what happened? You know what I find? Once I torque it to spec,
it starts shooting.
those this right here that they're talking about goes to this.
Yeah.
And all it comes down
I
to
just shoot
is someone
Derek's
being in
guns.
a hurry. It comes down to someone being in a hurry and not having a torque wrench that costs, $25, $50, whatever on eBay. I mean, Amazon, whatever. Buying something and doing it right, they rush it. They want to start shooting, in an hour, and it's not going to be right.
No. So again, it's attention to detail. That's what makes an accurate rifle. But guess what? There's more to it than hardware.
There he is.
That's the start.
I feel like I'm about to learn something.
And we're not even going to get into ammunition.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh,
You
my
know,
interest is
having
peaked.
quality ammunition is vitally important. But we're not going to talk about developing loads and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of really high quality factory ammunition today that, be honest, unless you're a fairly advanced reloader, you can't load anything better.
Yeah, I can agree.
So we're not even going to talk about that. We're going to say stay with a quality ammunition. Try several different ones, see what the gun prefers.
Yeah.
Because every gun's an individual.
That's very true. Different guns they're gonna prefer some ammo. It may be the higher end stuff, maybe the cheaper end stuff.
So for somebody like me, you're talking about quality ammunition. For somebody like me who's not necessarily a bolt gun guy, I got a bolt gun, just got one, and of course I've deer hunted and all this other stuff. Not to go down a rabbit trail, but I don't have any experience. Let me just say it that way, just so I'm clear. So you say, at what point are you spending time behind the trigger that you can track yourself and say, okay, at what level, what do you need to see? What do I need to see on paper for me to be able to say, okay, I know it's not me. The gun just don't like the ammunition. Because when I'm shooting a deer, I got 10 inches I can hit.
First off is consistency.
Okay.
Consistency on your part.
Yep. The breathing,
Okay.
the trigger press.
If you're being consistent, and we'll say the gun's shooting a crappy group, 4 inches, okay, just to pull something out of there, you're shooting a 4-inch group,
Tom.
okay?
I'm going home.
Well, you said it,
I'm just playing.
but listen, and it won't get any tighter.
Right. Okay.
That it's staying at 4 inches, no matter what you do, you're letting the gun cool, you're doing all the right things, and it's
'Cause I read the manual.
and it's staying at 4 inches. Then you can pretty much say, okay, I'm doing my part, because and you're probably shooting with Derek, and he's standing behind you, and he's watching you, and he's going, okay, man, you're doing your part.
Yeah, or maybe I even get behind the gun and I shoot it, and it's the same result.
Right.
Okay, so now we go, okay, this gun just does not like this.
It happens all the time.
Okay.
But you're looking for consistency on your point, on your part, consistency of how, if it's bad, it's consistently bad.
And the
Right.
fir-
It's
and
going to be consistently low left over here.
Right, and
Okay.
so you already
I'm
know,
tracking.
like if you got this gun right here,
Right.
I mean, well, let's not say this gun, because I know Tom's got this gun like it needs to be. But you got a gun, you're gonna bring it to me. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna torque spec it just like he talked about.
Okay.
I'm gonna do the rail, I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna check the chamber. I'm gonna make sure everything's good, safety's working safely, blah blah blah, all these things, right? Before we even take it out, we're gonna mount the optic. We're gonna make sure it's level. We're gonna make sure the optic's level, this and that. Because you've already negated a shit ton of problems.
He meant to say
That one's okay.
Right. Right, shit ton of problems potentially. So when you get behind a rifle, if you're not doing your part, and
It's
then I
gonna
can lay
show.
behind it, and it's doing whatever, then that's on you. You have to spend more time, right? So,
Makes-
but
that makes
like he
sense.
said to his initial, discussion is this rifle has to be right before you even get going, before you even load the mag. It's gotta be torque spec'd and like it should be.
And then the shooter has to perform consistent.
Yeah. It's like putting on a red dot on a pistol or sights on a Glock. Like everything's got to be like it's got to be Loctited, and different things depending
Right.
on what it's calling for. It doesn't have to have like on your finger and smear it all on bright red, but I mean like it's got to have some things there depending on what the use is.
So, but to answer your question, it's okay. You've done everything. You're shooting consistently, and it's consistently a wide, big group.
Okay.
Now, most of the time, I could care less where it's hitting on the target if I'm just out grouping, because I probably didn't zero to that load.
Right.
Okay.
You're in testing phase.
So if it's shooting and it's shooting low left and it's shooting low left every time, and it's not me pulling it, that's just where the gun's shooting because I haven't zeroed the scope for that load. But it's doing it consistently. What I'm worried about at that point is my group size.
Okay.
And you'll have to a lot of
Accuracy
times
versus
shoot.
precision.
A lot of times you'll have to shoot 20 plus rounds before that barrel will even settle in and begin to group.
That is one thing a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah, I'm learning a ton of stuff.
Some people say,
It may be
Tom,
more than 20. I'm just
Tom,
throwing
you
that
got a
out there.
you got a Bartland sitting here, and I'm gonna pull another really what I consider really good barrel out, and that's Rock Creek.
Yeah.
I mean, those little Rockies will shoot. And you say, why is this Bartland $300, $400 more? Well, normally you take that you build the rifle, you put the Bartland on it, you go out there, you throw the chronograph up,
Get your data.
and it's going. Let's say it's 2,500. It's going 2,500, 2,500, 2,500, 20. If your ammunition's consistent, your barrel's not speeding up and slowing down. Okay. I take that little Rocky out. Attention to detail. That's why you pay more for the Bartland.
Right.
Okay.
And I mount that little Rocky on there, and I may have to shoot 30 or 40 rounds, and I'm watching my chronograph, and it's starting out 1950, 2000, 2100.
And anybody
And
that
it's
shot a
speeding
lot,
up, and it's speeding up, and it's speeding up. And then it hits, and it plateaus.
you've seen this kind of thing. Like if you've shot a lot or a lot of different rifles, you've seen. And also like the temperature outside will affect it.
But, you're laying behind the rifle, and it's speeding up, it speeds up. Then all of a sudden it plateaus. Okay. Now your barrel's hit its sweet spot.
Seasoning the barrel, essentially.
Yeah.
And the difference between the Bartland and the Rocky, a lot people ask me, I say, a lot of times it's about 60 rounds.
And you'll see what he's talking about, that consistency and that plateau is that barrel is fouling to that load.
Yep.
And it's getting consistency with the speed and the accuracy, and that's what you want. And it's like this. Once again, Mr. Isbell, if it's shooting, don't touch it. Don't clean
No.
it. Don't clean it.
No.
Don't swap loads. Don't go to a different lot. Like if that lot's shooting, you got a case of it, go try to buy another case of it.
It's the same lot.
Same lot, exactly. Stay with that same lot.
And then again, we also have to sometimes, what do you consider it shooting? What I consider a rifle to be, what I consider it to, when I say that rifle's shooting, is maybe, that's my standard.
Right.
There's not this magic thing out there that says this is what,
Right.
To me, my rifles, we guarantee them. When I say my rifles, this is not my place. This is Lance's place.
Right.
Uh,
Well, you
But
might
I-
be putting some of them together.
but I take ownership of what I do.
Sure. Yeah.
And but if you get a WHMC rifle, let's do it that way. You get a WHMC rifle.
Okay.
That's pretty slick right there.
Yeah, and that's perfect. That's dry. There's not
Oh,
a
yeah.
bit of
Oh,
there's
you
not
can
a
tell.
bit
Yeah,
of
it's
oil.
completely dry. Yeah.
Our standard is it has to shoot half MOA at 100 yards with a factory hunting load. Now,
That's
the
That's
the
pride
last
behind the product.
the last two words in that statement is where most people go, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
What? Are you crazy? No, a factory hunting load. Because a lot the people buying my guns, people buying our guns, WHMC guns, most of them are not going to be PRS competitors.
competing, yeah.
They're not going to be F1 competitors. They are guys that demand the highest quality hunting rifle they can get in their hand. Because, you know, and this ain't meant to sound snobbish, but if they can afford to buy this, if they can afford to buy a $3,000 to $5,000 hunting rifle, they're probably taking some nice trips.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
they don't really want. Yeah, yeah.
you know, we've had guys take our rifles to Alaska, Africa, you know, on lots of really expensive, high-end trips. So they're demanding a product that delivers. So my ideal of base accuracy is that half minute at 100 with some factory hunting load.
I mean,
Okay.
and that's like you say, that's your clientele. That's who's buying.
pretty incredible.
That's who demanding that. You know.
And most time anymore, we've gotten spoiled. If it's just shooting a half, we're getting kind of, you know, it's kind of like
Can we do better?
we can do better.
What's wrong with this?
Tom
man?
Tom always wants to do that.
What did I screw up? Yeah.
You know, and it's just sometimes it may be the loads we have with us.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
You know, I was shooting a rifle one day, and it's like I'm on the rifle, and I shoot the group. And it's about a half. I'm like, okay, I'll try this again. Shoot the same load, about a half. I get a different load out. Load the gun, shoot the gun. It's about a half. Load the gun, shoot the gun. It's about a half.
Sounds pretty good to me.
And I'm like, man, I spent, and that gun, I don't remember what it was. It's like, I just felt like this gun should be better.
Yeah.
I think this gun should be better. So I said, okay, I'm fixing to reach in here and I'm fixing to bring out,
Daddy's loads.
and that is, and I'm going to tell you, it seems like every rifle we build in 308 loves the Federal Premium 175 grain terminal ascent.
Okay. Which is a proven load, very
Yes.
popular load.
Great load. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting in the bag.
I'm not a hunter, but I've heard all about it.
I've seen a lot of results from it. It's,
Well, and
it's,
and like I said, I don't hunt, but I
devastating
primarily
load.
shoot, just targets and whatnot. I'm shooting 168 grain, not all the time, but 168 grain gold medal match. Federal shoots
So-
pretty good.
I pull, and again, I'm basing everything on hunting loads because
Exactly,
I've
because
got,
they're getting them for game.
so I get the terminal ascent, load the magazine, settle in behind the rifle, shoot the rifle, slightly less than a quarter.
Yeah. You're like, okay, this is
I'm like,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's good shooting too. Let me just say.
there it is.
Consistency. Yep.
Yeah.
There it is. That's what I thought. This is where this rifle ought to be shooting. But that goes to what you were talking about a while ago.
How do you know?
Because I was able to shoot consistent, I can't do that every day.
Right.
Like, I can't do that every
Hey,
day.
and the same thing from my perspective, so far as pistol, whatever. No, I don't do that every day. Every now and then, I'm just like, I'm
Yeah,
off.
it's
today.
time to quit.
Yeah, you just feel it. You're like, I'm just gonna put this gun down, clear it, and go about
Um,
my business. Hey, it is
I'm a
not
pistol
my time.
guy, so I
Well, I mean,
understand that.
that's where up until a couple of 3 years ago when we started building rifles here, that was my background. My background is all handgun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
That's just the world that I live in.
Well,
And-
that's kind of why we're here to kind of segue into that, is to talk about how this all come about. With
so I mean, that's my whole background is handgun. I knew how to shoot a rifle. I knew how to hunt with a rifle.
Yeah, that's me.
You know, but
Just a hunter.
as soon as
and that's what I started when I was younger.
as soon as I got to where I could, I put the rifle down and started hunting the pistol.
Was it a 10 millimeter or 44 mag?
Yes.
How did I know that?
My favorite was actually the 10. I did. It was great. I shot a lot of
I
game
love the
with
fact
it.
too. Speaking of 10, when y'all were talking about in a previous video, talking about the brand 10, the first thing I'm like, Miami Vice. You know, before you mentioned it,
I
I'm like,
almost wore
'cause
my
I
white
was a
suit
fan,
tonight.
dude. I was a fan. I mean, watched every episode as a kid.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
I own the box set. You can borrow it anytime you want to.
I
I
had
watched them all.
I got Magnum PI too.
I had a brand
Magnum's awesome.
back in the day,
Oh yeah, I remember you saying.
and
I
had
never
three
shot one,
and
but
had
they're
3 magazines.
Wow.
That was the thing. You could get a brand, you just couldn't get a magazine. They run out of money before they got the magazines made.
Dang.
So there were more guns than magazines.
Yep, I've read that.
So now you're back to a flintlock.
You have to drop it in, drop it, and shoot it.
Pray to God the extractor don't break.
Yeah.
Hand cannon.
But yeah, I shot 10 millimeter quite a bit, 44 Magnum, 357 Magnum in some cases. But my favorite one was my 454.
That's a strong
That's
wrist.
that's artillery. That's vehicle artillery. Right?
You know,
Yeah, you got 2x4s.
it
in
didn't
your
matter.
forearms.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. It could be a mule deer. It could be an elk.
Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
You know.
You were going to take it out.
You know,
I wish I hadn't wore green. Now.
when you knew how to shoot the gun and put the bullets where they needed to go, that 454 put things on the ground.
And that comes back to
Yeah, to
what
put
we're
me on the
talking
ground if I
about
shot
in
it.
general is putting the bullet where it needs to go,
Yeah, I mean, a gut shot there's a gut shot there.
Yeah.
which is why what is essential?
Accuracy.
Training and accuracy.
But how do we get to accuracy? And that's what I want Derek to talk about. I want to give you guys this. We'll say we've got all the hardware right. Okay? Now, we're going to say we've also magically, somehow or another, we know exactly which load is going to shoot.
Because you put the time in behind the rifle.
So,
Or you said magically.
yeah,
Yeah.
we magically now know which load's going to shoot.
Okay.
John Moses Browning sent you a letter.
Yes.
So
It was
that's where it came
efficient.
from.
And,
Right.
him and, Steve Hornaday.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. For sure. I haven't met Steve Hornaday. I love
They
Steve.
came up with it and then
He's
just
hilarious.
they airdropped it.
Yeah. So, now you got everything together.
You got a good
We're
recipe
gonna say we got a great. We'll say we got a Night Force NX8 2.5 to 20.
Stop it, Tom.
Yeah, I'm
We're
just-
live.
Getting all excited over there.
Exactly.
Okay, so we got everything set up nicely. You know, we got our AB suppressor, so it's nice and quiet. And
Rib for your ear's pleasure.
that's right.
Ribbed for ear pleasure. Yes. Someone
But
made
after
a
2
comment.
shots, it's warmed.
Right.
Goodness.
So
Oh boy, here we
we've got all our hardware. We got our ammunition. Derek, take it from there. What do we need to do?
You have to shoot the gun.
Oh my God.
And you have to shoot the gun. You have to shoot the gun. Then you got to shoot it some more.
Would you recommend shooting it or?
Here's what people do. They get on YouTube. They watch Grand Thumb and Lucas Bodkin, which I like both of them. They're entertaining. And they try to mimic what they do, and they try to buy everything they do. Well, I got news for you. If you try to mimic everything those guys, these YouTube celebrities do, you're going to be divorced. You're going to be, you're going to have your house is going to get repoed. Your car's going to get repoed. You're going to repossess your house. Like, it's going to be bad. Like, you need to buy the best you can afford, is what I'd say. Buy the best you can afford.
Right.
And train with the gun. Seek out some training. Shoot it. Find where you need adjustments and get with somebody that can help you make those adjustments.
And don't be too proud.
Yeah, I mean,
Speaking of pride, okay.
everybody started somewhere.
So take it. All right, right now, lay me out a plan. So I have a Savage. It's not an Axis 2. Doesn't have the Acti trigger. I have a Savage. It's a 6.5 Creedmoor. What mount? What scope? I got some ammo for Christmas. 143 grain ELDXs. What scope?
Great ammo. It's a 6.5.
What
It'll
mount?
shoot it.
What would you put on it?
Well,
I'm gonna shoot
Here's the first thing.
with Derek, and I'm gonna shoot deer.
Here's the first thing. You got to drink White Claw.
Well, I don't drink. So
Oh my
Three more
goodness.
Oh my God.
I
That's
understand.
so funny.
I understand you're stuck with the 6'5" need more.
Well,
Oh,
and
goodness.
a lot of
look how
people
small
knock
my
it.
hands are.
Well, he's not just he's talking about any gun,
Right.
but you know
I had to
we'll,
get it.
we'll
I'm
go
talking
way
about-
too far into the bolt guns, whatever. But we're just talking about training specifically on anything.
On any rifle.
Is your dedication to it, and a little bit about our background is when we met or whatever, I was telling you about shooting, you know, how many thousands of rounds or whatever, and you thought I was completely full of shit. You know what I mean? And you're just like, this guy's full of shit.
Yeah, because
And then
nobody
I-
does that.
Right. And then I was like, well, come shooting with me sometime. Well, you didn't go for the longest time, but eventually you come with me and this and that. And what happened?
Well, I can tell you why I started coming with you. Because you would I would come in there. I would not buy ammo. I would buy the newest, latest, greatest.
Lots
and
of people do.
eat peanut butter and noodles to be able to afford it. And y'all think I'm
Gotta
kidding.
love the honesty.
Y'all think I'm kidding. I did what it took to buy what I needed because that's all you hear.
And that's what YouTube tells you.
Yeah, that
gun
was
law,
my
yeah.
source.
And look, guys, we're not just beating up on YouTube.
No,
it's
it's
Before-
everywhere.
Look, before it was YouTube,
Gun
it was
magazines.
the gun glossies that come out every month.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it's
You got to understand, like something pays for those publications
right.
Yeah, all them
And-
films we watch ain't cheap.
for that content.
You know, and these guys, and I'm not bashing them because I like Grand Thumb.
Yeah, yeah,
I
it's
like
hilarious.
Lucas. He's a
Yeah.
super nice guy.
Yeah.
And
Awesome,
you know,
and he can run the hell out of a gun.
He
Like,
can.
He's awesome.
But why can he run it?
Yeah, because he's shot thousands and thousands and thousands around. Repetition on the gun.
And you know, but when you get to guys like Grand Thumb, Kentucky Ballistics,
And another thing is for whatever reason on YouTube, the spectrum is go fast, go fast, go fast. So here's the thing: we all drive. Everybody here got a license, right? We all drive. I'm not a race car driver. I don't know if y'all are. I'm not a race car driver. No. So my point is like
pretend I am.
there's this I don't know if it's ego driven or what it is, but there's this want to, which it's fun. Don't get me wrong, to go fast. But it's like also it's like if you're not as fast as this guy, then you're not jack shit. Like that's just not true. Like that's
No.
not the purpose of everybody shooting and training and whatever. Most people that seek me out for training are looking for home defense. They're looking for their first steps on carrying a gun. You know, EDC, like they've never shot a gun a lot of times, you know. But with what John was saying, so what happened like when you finally did come with me and you're like, okay, let's make this step. What happened?
Well,
guys, I'm going to bow out for a second.
yeah,
Y'all
you do
got
your
the mics.
thing.
I
Yes,
got
sir.
to run to the bathroom.
I understand.
don't run, Tom.
And
Please
we've
walk.
laughed about this a lot, but you know, but
Yeah,
but what
because
happened?
well, it's a vicious cycle. So I would come in to not buy ammo. You would say, hey, won't you just buy that 1,000 rounds?
Yeah,
right
buy
there?
2,000 rounds
Won't
ammo.
you buy 1,000 or 2,000, whatever 500?
Yeah,
You can do a lot of training with 500 rounds. But I was
I'm
like,
an ammo whore for sure.
yeah. So I would buy the what I thought was the latest greatest, what I thought I needed to be better. I was trying to buy skill. Why?
And everybody does it,
Because that's all you
whether it's
hear.
a trigger, sights,
Yeah.
gun, whatever.
Like an 870 will not do. Like you will die in the streets
Right, yeah.
unless you have a 1301 with $2,700 worth of add-ons.
Yeah,
and if
and
you don't have a flashlight on it, you are going to be murdered.
And
in
you got to
your
have
home.
17 reloads. You got to have 17 rounds on the gun.
Yes. Well, I'm just waiting for somebody to make a detachable tube.
It's got to
where
hold
you just-
33. It's got to
Yeah.
hold 33.
Well, we got Glock mags for that.
There you go.
So, I mean,
it's
we
funny.
joke,
It's
but
funny, yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
God's
Oh, I
honest
know.
truth.
Yeah.
And so I would go into the store, and he would say, "Well, how's you shooting? What are you doing?" I said, "Well,
Just
I think-
picking his brain, you know.
yeah, I think I'm gonna work on this." Okay, well, if you're gonna work on that, why don't you instead of why don't you adjust your grip a little bit? Why don't you try this?
Yeah.
And then I'd say,
Because a lot of times
he's
he
a
would
tattoo devil worshiper, and I don't know if I want to listen to him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
a lot
know,
of times
like-
he would be telling me about troubles he was having. He's like,
Right.
I'm shooting left, or this gun won't shoot, whatever it might be. And then it was interesting because I've seen it before,
Yep.
so I was giving him feedback,
Right. And I don't even know if you knew about my eye at that point.
No, I
We were
did not.
just-
I definitely did not.
Yeah. So I would take what he said. This is before I ever went out the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I would take what he said and I would go try it. and I would adjust a little bit. I would do what you told me to do, and then I would start hitting closer. You know, you wasn't there with me to get that finite
Yeah. Get
torque
your
on
tune
it.
just right. Yeah.
Just to figure
You were coming
out.
back to the store to get feedback.
Right. And
Yeah.
I would come back, well, how'd you do this time? You know, did you practice this? Yeah, you know, I did. And it worked. You know, I'm getting better.
And he was being transparent about it. You know, he would say,
Yeah,
I'm,
I don't have an
I'm
ego.
getting better. You know, he's like, it seems to work, what you're telling me.
I don't have an ego. If you go to people on your same level to learn anything, you're never going to get better.
Yeah, that's true.
So I wasn't afraid to miss, and I wasn't afraid to be like, look, and I would bring him targets, pieces of cardboard, whatever it was that I had that I was shooting, you know, draw a little circle on it, and I would shoot it. I'd bring it to him, he was like, oh, well, you're low left, so this is why you're doing that.
Yeah.
And I would look at him, I'd be like,
How do you know that?
Like, why? So you wasn't there. I don't have it on video. How do you know these things? Well, I just shot, 50,000 rounds. Last year.
Maybe not 50,000.
Last
like
year.
10, 15,000.
Yeah, the day before.
The day before.
So, and I would say, okay. So what you want to do is X, Y, and Z. I'd say, okay. He'd say, if you do this, your groups, you'll see them climb and they'll be closer to where you want. Mm-hmm. So about the 10th time, God, I don't know. This is what, a year later.
Probably.
I was like, okay. He's invited me like 3 times. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go shoot.
To give Tom up to speed, what we're talking about is he
I
and
was
I met.
listening.
Okay, yeah,
Yep.
I could hear you.
that's right.
Right.
I don't pee that loud.
He's like, I put my hand on my hips.
Tom,
and,
did
you
you
know,
sit
but I
down?
don't.
I did.
I do too. Every morning.
It's hilarious.
So, but just being transparent, I said, well, this is kind of scary. And like he would tell me things, and I'd be like, okay, whatever. This guy, he's
full of shit.
Absolutely insane, and nobody can shoot guns real good. And then I would try it, and I would see myself gradually improve. If I hadn't have been an idiot, and I would have just went the first time, I would have improved so much faster. Just being honest, I mean, that's just how it is. If I'd have left the 226s and the $1,200 whatever's alone,
Yeah, because you can have great guns and not have any kind of curriculum or not building skill. You're just shooting awesome guns.
you're watching money go up in smoke when you could be being productive with someone who knows better and more than you. And that's what I was doing at the time. So I go out with him, and it was the craziest thing.
Eye opener, pun intended.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
was an
goodness.
eye opener. Like for a second, I literally thought I could see good.
So John,
Yeah, you might want to fill everybody in here.
yeah. So everybody knows. So John actually has one eye. He had an eye put out in an accident. So what better thing to make you focus on training to be more dedicated than to have that disability, like to have one eye?
Well, a guy in my shape can't afford to miss a whole lot.
There you go. So he comes out with me, and continue, John.
Well, it was an iron sight world for me. Mm-hmm. And so before I went out, this is the conversation that I had. Derek called me. He said, "Dude, I'm gonna go shooting tomorrow. Me and a buddy. He's gonna be a little late. If you want to come in the morning, then I'll show you the things that I've been talking about. And if you know Derek, he's Glock, Glock, Glock. And there's nothing wrong with Glocks.
Yeah, I love Glocks.
So I did not like Glocks.
That's happened plenty of times too. Heard it from plenty of people. Don't like Glocks.
Well, here's why. I wasn't skilled enough and had never been to training.
And that's
to
normally why a lot of
understand.
people don't like them.
Yeah.
I hate the trigger. I hate the way they feel. They don't fit my hand.
Well,
like
it
all
wasn't
these
even the
things.
trigger for me because I was running. You remember I was running a Mark 25 SIG at the
yeah.
time.
Yeah, nice gun.
So that's what I was used to. It was smooth and all this other stuff, fancy again. All this stuff
By
that
the way, I
internet
got an
said.
actual real Navy down there.
Oh, stop, Tom.
And a lot of people
Trying to rob me and we're closed.
and it goes back to what we were saying, or what I say all the time, is a lot of times people buy these
wanna look
things
at that.
for prestige. They don't buy them to train with. They buy them for prestige.
Well, it's a feeling it's a warm, fuzzy feeling you get, but when you start shooting them and you're 11 inches off to the left because you bought the gun and you bought 12 rounds of ammo to go with it.
Yeah. And that's all you have to shoot for the day.
Right. And that's a real thing. And that was me. I mean, just being 100% honest, that was me.
So we got together.
So we got together, and he says, "All right, we're gonna start." I said, "Okay." Well, the phone call was, he said, "Buy you a Glock, buy you 1,000 rounds of ammo." I said,
Which
not
I'm
buying
always going to suggest to
Yeah.
everybody.
I'm not buying a Glock, and I can't afford 1,000 rounds of ammo. Look, this is how serious. This is what true mentors do. He said, "That's fine. Bring what you got. Shoot some of my ammo, because we've become friends. You know, we over a year's time. Shoot some of my ammo." And he said, "I promise you, buy the Glock. If you can't shoot the Glock by tomorrow, after I'm done critiquing you, then I'll buy it from you, and I'll give you $100 more than what you paid for it."
Yep, I remember saying that.
I said, "Okay, I'm fixing to make some money because they're trash.
Right.
I freaking hate them." So he said, "Bring the SIG, bring the Glock, and if you can't shoot it, I'll give you more than what you paid for it." So I said, "Okay." So that's exactly what I did. I bought a Glock 45 MOS. I didn't put a red dot on it. I should have. Tom, where were you?
I still don't put red dots on them.
Well, you see better than me.
No.
Some
Oh,
days.
bam. That's hilarious.
Well, you got twice the chance that I do.
Right.
Yeah.
Some
He's
days.
batting 100.
Yeah. Sometimes if I'm taking a right-handed corner, I turn around and walk backwards, so it's on
I
my left
understand.
side.
Funny.
Gracious.
So
Be fun clearing a hall with him, wouldn't it?
That's right.
don't be on the right. Stay where I can see you. Well, and if we have time, we'll get into some of that stuff too, because this was a starting point that 100% catapulted me into what I do today, how I shoot today.
With purpose.
With purpose,
Yeah.
yes. I'm not going out there to say, "Hey, look what I bought" anymore, because I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a Glock or LCP 380.
Meaningless. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Shoot the gun.
Shoot the gun.
Shoot the
Yes.
gun, get proficient with what you have. And I always tell people too, like I'm going to refer people to a Glock most of the time because it's simple, it works,
And it's not real expensive.
It's not real expensive,
Right, and if
But-
you
but
haven't watched
always-
YouTube and ruined
right?
yourself,
Yeah, but always.
then you can learn to shoot it.
But I tell people, everybody's on a budget. I don't know people's budget. It's none of my business. Buy the best you can afford, and if you can save up, don't spend the $375. Just wait till you can spend $500 and just buy a Glock.
Guilty of that also.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are, but
Sure.
like just buy the best you can afford and train with it, and you'll be proficient, and you'll probably shoot it better than somebody that's got a $2,000 gun.
No.
But you have to dedicate yourself, which is what we're talking about, is training. Shooting and training are two different things.
Totally.
Totally different things.
Actually, a lot of times, unfortunately, I hate to say this because I've heard it said any trigger time's good trigger time, and that's just not true.
Well, it may be fun, but is it productive?
Sometimes
know.
it's actually counterproductive.
Yeah. And I mean, like, if we're going out and you say, "Hey, Derek, let's get together and shoot 22s." Hey, whatever. Or I mean, there's nothing wrong with shooting for
No.
fun, obviously.
That's no.
But when you come and you say, "Hey, I want to do some training," like it's game face time.
Yeah, but
Well, are you there to show how good you are, or are you there to learn something?
Yeah. So speaking of
Two
that, like I
different
couldn't tell you
attitudes.
how many times we talked about it a little bit earlier off camera. Is people's called me for training and wanted a little individual instruction, but they really don't. What they want is they'll
Show
say,
you how good they
"I'm gonna
are."
bring my GoPro." Well, not even that, but they'll just say, "I'm gonna bring my GoPro and this and that and that." And I'm like, "Whoa, wait a minute, what for?" And they're like, "Well, I'm gonna put this up on my Instagram and this and that." I'm like, "No, man, you can deal with somebody else. Like this is not what I do.
Yeah.
Like I'm teaching you how
Serious
to."
business.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I don't think I'm something. I'm not arrogant, but it's like if you come shoot with me and you've made time, I've made time, you're going to feel better and get better.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah, it'll be the first
So-
day.
Oh God. Well, let me tell you. So I show up to the range. I had never looked through a red dot on a pistol before. I didn't know it was a thing necessarily. Like it wasn't in my realm of possibilities, for lack of better terminology. So I show up to the range, and he says, "All right, we're going to start." So I walk on back, where I'm used to shooting 10, 15, 20 yards, whatever.
A lot of people do it.
Yeah,
Right
it's
off the
just
bat.
it's
15,
all
20,
I knew.
Yeah.
It's all I knew. So he brought me. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, we're gonna shoot." He said, "Yeah, but like if you're that far away, it's probably murder. Like come up here."
Can't stab you from across the road.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. Tire irons don't reach that far. So,
But
he
I can
brings
also
me-
see these lights going, "Oh, wow, that makes sense."
Oh, God, dude,
You know
look.
what I mean? He was soaking it
There
up.
was 3 times that day I almost had a stroke from the knowledge overload. So, but that's the difference in practice and training.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, honest to God, that's the difference. Like, so I walk up to the 3-yard line. You want to talk about being a humbling experience.
From here to Stephanie.
Yeah, oh, God.
Closer, maybe.
Closer. Yeah. The first thing that he said was, okay. He handed me a blue gun. He said, hold the gun. And I didn't know. He was watching to make sure I wasn't going to shoot him or me.
Yeah, I want to make sure he was safe.
Right.
Right from the get-go.
He said, don't let me take this gun. I was like, okay. Well, dude, he snatched that gun.
Bow.
I didn't let it go. I didn't break my grip.
But he ended up with it.
I almost kissed the target. He snatched that blue gun, and I said, whoa, reality sets in. He said, okay. And then we went to some dry fire. He said, get your SIG. I got my SIG. He said, all right, aim right here. I'm like, all right. So I turned around. I was going to walk back. He said, no. Right here.
Let's go some live fire.
Yeah. Real time. And so he said, aim in. Give me a good trigger press. Well, I hit it, but not perfectly. He said, okay, so do this instead. He adjusted my grip. I was holding the gun. He adjusted my grip. Finger obviously off the trigger.
Yeah, one thing I will say, and you can see a lot of times from people that are familiar with guns and have shot, a lot on their own, is they're safe. They've learned the trigger discipline a lot of times, and you can really work with those people better. Makes you a little bit at ease.
That coffee's
You're
good
like,
cold.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's good cold.
Oh.
It's
But it's a real thing.
Yeah.
So it made me kind of take a deep breath or relax, because when someone's safe and they can not going to point it at you. Oh, look at that! This is awesome. Like,
y'all want to see my gun?
yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that kind of started setting in on me, and it became real to me. If that makes sense, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but that's the way that it hit my soul. So
And
go ahead.
I think it's exactly the right way to say it. And people may be asking themselves right now, what has this got to do with making an accurate rifle? Because what we're talking about is not necessarily him learning to shoot a SIG.
Right. It translates to all.
What we're talking about are principles.
Yeah, there you go.
They're principles wrapped in stories, which is the easiest way. It's how Jesus taught.
Parables, yeah.
But they're principles wrapped in stories. The principle here is learning sight alignment, learning trigger squeeze, learning how to properly hold the pistol or shoulder the rifle.
Produces results.
Proper form is what brings about positive results.
And you say
And-
proper form, I'll say mechanics.
Well, it's both.
Same
because if you're going to get the right mechanics, you got to have the form.
Yes. One complements the other. Yeah.
And here's the thing: when you're truly training, you're not just training to hit the target.
It's like instinctual.
You're training to teach your body what it needs to do, so that things become muscle memory. A gunfight, a true gunfight, self-defense gunfight, lasts less than 3 seconds.
Which I have not been in.
Zeb Hall said amen.
Not been
Do I?
Zeb Hall said amen.
Okay, less than 3 seconds. 3 seconds is a very long gunfight.
Sure.
Unless
I don't want to find out.
unless you're like in the Kandahar Valley,
Right. Yeah.
fighting the Taliban or something. They have 8-hour gunfights.
I don't think I want to
No,
go.
thank you.
But
There's nothing there for me to hunt.
a
Right.
true self-defense situation, when you get into it, is less than 3 seconds.
And I'm sure there's always an exception to the rule.
Yes,
right.
yes,
But
yes. I mean, we're talking averages. And it used to be less than 3 shots in less than 3 seconds. That varies. Now everybody's taught empty your gun.
oh yeah, 100%.
Shoot till it's empty.
Yep.
And one of my very favorite teachers This guy named Clint Smith.
Oh yeah. Everybody loves Uncle Clint.
And, his thing, shoot till the gun's empty. I was actually
Maybe not.
I was actually taught differently. I was taught you end the fight and you end the fight with accuracy, with as few shots as possible.
Sure. Yeah, make them count.
Because of the danger to people around. Because where I was training for, you're going to be in a crowded situation.
And another thing that people are not,
Which is my job now.
another thing that people don't realize is every round you expel from that firearm, you are criminally and civilly responsible for.
That's a fact.
They say $1 million a shot. Is that right?
That'd be on the cheap end.
Yeah. So why would you want to miss real fast?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So like I said, back when I was taught, it was stop the fight with as few shots as possible. And if you look at the literature, if you look at the studies, if you look at everything that was done, which is, matter of fact, a lot of that is what today's world's based on. That's why we have the ammunition and stuff we have today.
Yeah,
and we've had
the
the technologies.
Stop it quick.
Yes.
Kyle Petty wants to know, he said he just jumped on, is that a SIG cross missing a stamp?
No, that is a WHMC.
You're gonna get him fired up.
We actually,
Just come in and handle it, Kyle.
we actually call it the Precision Patrol. It's
sexy.
a concept gun
God.
It's
that we
sexy.
came up with that can be carried easily in a police cruiser to put lots of power on the target with precision.
It's 308.
It is 308.
Man.
So the average police shooting 62 yards with a rifle. If you're a police sniper or
Right.
overwatch or shooter, whatever, the average shot is 62 yards. This rifle, when we get it out on the range and it goes through its paces, for it to come from concept to reality, we'll have to shoot 1 minute at 300 yards.
Nice.
Jeez.
I believe it'll do it.
I guarantee you, with him shooting.
If the gun's not capable of it, I may have to get somebody else behind it because, guys, I'm not always that great.
Yeah, and anybody that's honest will tell you the same thing. Like some
J-
days you're just not. You're just
Jake
not there.
Hedrick, who works TWRA, comes in here and hangs out. Jake's a lot better rifle shot than I am.
As good as that one looks, I could probably hit stuff with my right eye.
And
That's funny.
it's one thing I miss about having Dean here is,
Shout out to Dean Hargrove.
having a really competent shooter.
Love
That,
Dean.
he say, hey man, take these to the range.
And he
Go
would
shoot
and
these.
love every minute of it.
Here's free. Here's ammo. You're getting paid while you're there. Take the guns.
Yeah, we've had
Do
a
you
lot
have
of
to be a
those
good shot? Is that a
discussions.
requirement?
Well, it really helps because I'm trying to get good solid data on the gun.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
I
wanna
actually
apply.
went and visited Dean a few months ago. Went to Charlotte, Tennessee, and visited Dean. Had a great time.
But I really miss that about it. Having
My
that.
best friends. Love Dean Hargrove.
Really miss that. But I hear he's happy and doing well.
He's doing
and,
great. He's doing great. Fantastic.
That
We had a good time.
things are going well for him, and that's wonderful. That's great.
And Dean and I have done a lot of training together.
Yeah, I mean, you
Lots
two
of
have
training.
drove a lot of miles.
Yeah. Yes, done a lot of training together.
Slung a lot of guns in the mud.
Yep.
Get
Done a
through
lot
and
of
throw them
training.
in the back of the truck.
Yep. Spray them off a water hose.
Yeah.
Like AK, spray them off water hose.
What's that? The cleaning stuff you told me about? You're like, this is really expensive. You could buy it at the Dollar General.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
It's called awesome. It's $1 a bottle.
I was like, okay, how do you use it? Well, you take your gun apart and you put it everywhere, and then you hook up your water hose. I was
Yeah,
like, okay.
yeah. So a lot of times, like even with Glocks, like when they get extremely dirty, like the internals, I'll pop that trigger out and just literally soak them in awesome. When you pull them out, they're pristine. You just wipe them off, stick them right back in there. They're like factory
This
gear.
guy.
It's
Look,
literally like it just.
I've run a lot of Glocks through a dishwasher.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like you can't hurt them. Same thing.
I
with
have
all those things.
literally run
Yeah.
a
Awesome.
lot of. Look,
Which is the cheap stuff from dollar store. Take the boat out of the boat carrier, put it in there, let it get all the carbon, wipe it off.
we come back from
Works great.
a GSSF
Awesome.
match
Right
Right.
now, people are like, oh,
And there's like 5 of us. We've been running these guns hard because we were with, we were there and we were teaching people to shoot, and they were shooting our guns, and we were shooting our guns, and they got nasty.
that's right.
Sure.
And now we're going back out for another day. So we go in
Get nastier.
we go in that afternoon, and we're like, man, we can't have people getting all smutty and stuff. We could have cared less.
Smutty. That's
Smutty.
my new word. I love that word.
Well,
Smutty.
What else would you call it?
That's
You're a smut.
He said smutty.
that's literature.
Yeah.
But because some of this ammo they're shooting is that
Literature.
we're shooting is just nasty. So every
Yeah.
time you grab the gun, your hand comes back black.
Oh yeah.
So we're just all pop them apart and stick them in the dishwasher.
Yeah.
You know,
Simple enough.
Head out to eat and
Come back and
do our
your
thing.
Glock's fine.
Come back in. Yeah, it's finished. Throw just a little bit of about a half a drop of oil in a couple 3 places.
And that just goes back to why I love Glock so much, is the simplicity of it. I mean, you literally strip the gun, this and that, wipe it off. It's ready to go another 10,000 rounds.
Well, let
Yeah.
me tell you something. Like,
Somebody asked me one
great.
time when I cleaned one. I said when grass is growing out the side.
That's the truth, dude.
well,
That's
so,
the truth.
so the
That's
Glocks,
so funny.
I was a Glock hater, and so I buy the Glock. I shoot the SIG. He's like, "Yeah, you're pretty good with that." He's like, "Well, do this with a Glock." Well, I'm a 1911 guy because I love Jesus.
Because 1911s are awesome.
Yeah, it's God's gun. And so I grip the Glock, and of course I'm 17 inches high, like everybody who's ever not shot a Glock. Yeah, and he's like, "No, do this right here." Goes back to the the wrist. You gotta have a good wrist.
Grant.
Right, it's funny.
So then he's like, "Okay, do this. Adjust this grip right here. Do these small little things."
Yeah.
That took 14 seconds for him to tell me, and then all of a sudden I'm starting to shoot Glocks, and I didn't get my extra $100 for the Glock. He didn't get a new Glock, but but it's training. I never would have
And-
got there if I hadn't have took the step.
To train.
And you were definitely, reprehensive about it.
Oh, to say the least. I mean,
And a lot of people are,
it's
because
hard.
you have to realize, like, I don't know about this, like,
Here's-
but maybe I learned something.
Here's the thing. So many people have a hard time. I'm not even gonna say being humble, but being humble is
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
But even admitting somebody knows more than they do.
Especially when it comes to gun guys.
You got
and
to
gun
kill
stuff.
that pride.
Oh my god.
Get
You
rid of
got
the
to be
pride.
able to swallow it. It's like shooting with Dean. When I'd go with him, I would watch what he was doing. A lot of the reasons I can shoot a rifle like I do now come from standing back watching him, going, "Okay, that's what he's doing with his forearm, and that's what he's doing here." And then a gentleman named John Spalding, who was great guy. You need to meet him. But he was the marksmanship instructor at the Scout Sniper School in Quantico.
Oh, wow.
So he could shoot a little bit.
Just a hair.
I would enjoy that.
And, watching what Dean was doing, asking him questions, and then being able to kind of pick John's brain.
And that's how you learn. Asking questions and time on the gun.
Him and, picking Scully's brain.
Scully knows.
Well, and when you get that
Well,
instruction,
John was Scully's marksmanship instructor
okay.
when he was over the Scout Sniper School. They're damn near inseparable.
Yeah.
You know,
Love it.
They're Scully,
like Scully's
Johnny, Joe.
videos. They're good.
Scully, Johnny, Joe.
I love John
Um,
Willis too.
well, kind of to touch on what you're saying about watching the other people and the training and being with people, not it's an attitude you take towards it. Like you said, you got to swallow the pride. But I would say, whenever I was talking to Derek and he would tell me do this and this and this, it would help. But when I got on the range, it was real. It was go time, and that pressure of, okay, I'm getting real instruction. I'm going to learn something today. First off, if you're showing up to show your instructor how good you are,
You're not there for the right
you
reason.
are, you are going
It's
to
happened a lot too.
Yeah, you're going to get spanked and you're
Yep.
going to feel worse about yourself. Show up and say,
Open-minded,
My,
you know.
my cup is empty. I know nothing. First off, it doesn't make sense to show up with an ego because you've paid money.
I couldn't tell you how many times.
You know-
I just interrupt for a minute. I couldn't tell you how many times people's, got me together and they're like, they'll tell me, I already know how to shoot. I want you to teach my wife or whatever. And it's like, okay. Well, then I'm like teaching their wife, and then they come up and they're like, hey, you got to do this and that, and I'm like, hey, hang on. We got this,
Yeah, you
whatever.
paid me.
And they're like, well, I've been hunting all my life. I'm a deer hunter. I'm a duck hunter. I've been shooting guns my whole life. I'm like, okay, that has nothing to do with anything we're doing here. Just chill out. You're gonna make them nervous. Just sit back, whatever. And it won't be no time that woman, which
Will outshoot
women
him.
listen a lot better. They will
Amen.
outshoot that man
Every time.
every single time.
Yep.
Because the man already knows it all. He can't learn anything. The
Yep.
woman will listen to exactly what you tell, and she's sitting there carving, the same hoe.
Well-
and like he's looking at me going like, "What'd you do?" I'm like, "I didn't do nothing."
She listened.
Yeah, she listened to what it is, and he can't do it, and then he's pissed off and wants to leave. He's like,
Well,
let's get out of here.
I would
we gotta go
say-
eat or whatever.
I would say to go along with that, there's a difference in what I was doing before I got with you. I was shooting a gun. I was putting holes in paper. In my opinion, take it for what you will, there is a difference between shooting a gun and running a gun.
Oh, 100%.
They are not the same thing.
No, not at all.
They are opposite
Yeah,
of
running.
each other.
When people say they're running a gun, or they'll say a system they're running, I run this, I run Trigicon, I run Night Force, I run Surefire, whatever. Bullshit. You're buying what you saw somebody have, and whatever else. Like most people never get down and dirty with their stuff. Most people shoot it a little bit, clean it a lot.
They never get the gumball moment.
Shoot it a lot. That's a good moment. That's a funny moment. Tell Tom that moment. He'll like that.
So, this is day one now. Remember, I'm on stroke number 2 of all the things that I've learned, because, I don't know if anybody else knows it, but, if somebody is after you, they might shoot back, and,
Yeah.
you don't want to
Very
miss.
true. Could be return
Could
fire.
be. Could be return fire. Yep. And they're not throwing rocks.
And
So,
I have heard
pay attention.
that if one of those connects, it hurts
Oh,
really
man.
bad.
I can only imagine.
I ain't got enough eyes to test that, but I'll take your word for it. So we're out there on the range. And he's like, okay. We were taking a break. Monster Energy drink time. And
Oh, that's great for your.
Not for precision shooting. We're pistol shooting.
yeah. We're trying to
No
keep our blood
precision.
pressure up. Yeah,
That's
I'm trying not,
great.
trying not to bottom out. We didn't have an EpiPen, so he's like, "Here, drink this monster quick, so you don't pass out on the range and I'll throw you in the river." So we're standing there. He's like, "Hey, you want to see something cool?" And I was like, "Sure." So he goes and gets us. Was it a 34 you pulled out, or was it a 17
A 17, I think.
with a
With a RMR on
Trigicon
it.
RMR? So I'm looking at this Glock. I got one that's a little shorter and looks just like it,
He's
but this has
gagging.
got
He's like,
R2D2 on top of it, and it does weird stuff.
because we're shooting irons
Yep.
at first.
So that's
and
what
then
I had.
Yeah, right. And you have to be proficient with both, because you never know who's going to show up with what, And that goes with 38 revolver. That goes from 22, whatever. You got to be proficient with everything, because different people have different things they want to train with,
Right.
or can afford to train with,
And as a trainer, you have to be able to accomplish it.
You gotta
You
be
have to
well-rounded.
be able to.
Yeah, got to be well rounded.
So, which initially I was like, dude, this guy says he's good with everything. He, not
I may not have said
not
that,
being
'cause I don't
not
really
not
talk
word
like
for
that.
word, not being arrogant or anything like that. But he's like, yeah, I've shot that. Yeah, I've had several of those. That's a good gun.
That's very true.
Or
Because I bought everything.
I've had that, man. You kind of want to stay away from X, Y, and Z, and I just took it for what it's worth. So anyway, he pulls out this 17 with this weird looking thing on the top of it. And he's like, check this out. So he's like, no, do it like this, and you'll see the dot, because I couldn't see the dot.
Yeah, and a lot of people do when they transition to a red dot. They have trouble with it because they're, the pistol's pointed up or it's pointed down. It's like, just look at where you want it to go and push the pistol to where you're looking.
Yeah, I would
Every
say
single
within
time.
30 seconds, with good instruction, you'll be seeing the dot every time if you're putting the time in. So he said, hey, I turned around. There's a big gumball tree in the background. He said, the lowest limb, it's on the left. You see the gumball on the very end. I could tell you how far it was, but you wouldn't believe me. I don't see too well, but I could tell you it was no less than 30 yards away. He's like, check this out. Shtoom. And so this gumball explodes, and my freaking mind exploded at the same time. Like, how do you shoot something this big that far away?
Well, and now you know the answer.
Oh, God.
Lots and lots and lots of shooting.
Yes. So I was hooked immediately. Like, I could not believe. I went home feeling super great because I was 100% better than when I showed up that morning 8 hours earlier. But I was so humbled.
And thirsty at the same
Yes,
time. Like,
I
I got to have more.
Oh, God.
He was addicted.
It was like putting a crackhead in a crack house and telling him don't touch nothing. Dude, I literally went home and got a notebook. And I still have it somewhere. I'm going to find it one day, and I'm going to give it to you for your birthday.
Love it.
Like, I wrote everything down possible that I could remember. Like, I soaked it in like a sponge because it wasn't just talk. It was proven in action. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the day, I'm sitting there like, oh my God. Like, that's a Glock, and it does this. Mm-hmm. And Glocks are, Glocks. And they didn't even cost $1,500. Why would I want that?
Right.
I sold the SIG 226. I did not touch another firearm for
Still
a year.
Great gun. We're not knocking SIGs. They're fantastic.
No, I would own one today. I love them.
Great.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I
You
love
may
them.
before you leave.
Oh,
There you
stop
go.
it.
That's right.
Stop.
Nick's is still running.
I'll buy the SIG if you send this home.
Right, yeah.
So, but I never would have learned, even as far as pistols, like, it's not real
Until you see it.
until you see it. Mm-hmm. You hear about all of these different stories. Oh, that's BS. When you see it and you understand, if your mindset is right, you understand that if you stick under someone who knows more than you,
Yeah.
not out of arrogance, but because they've been there and they've done that, if you'll stick with them, and no matter how distressful it is to be told that your $1,500 whatever is not going to get you there, and you're emotionally invested in this gun that you thought was going to get you there, and then a guy who's done it for longer put the time in, put the effort in, paid the money, paid the dues, been to the classes, and practiced thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds can do with a gun that cost $900 less than what you brought.
Right.
With a red dot, you have to understand the difference between running a gun and poking holes in a paper target.
And that's well said, and that's why I wanted to invite John tonight when Tom asked me to come. Is like, I don't need the recognition. That's not what it's about. It's about it's like a testimony for someone that is we're still training together to this day. Rifles, pistols, shotguns, the whole deal.
Oh, the rifles are completely different.
Every time we show up or whatever, he's pumped, ready to learn. He's like, what are we doing today? And he can mimic these things with a pistol now. So it's not about my skill. You know, nothing like that. Like how how good it feels to know that he understands it and does it, and he can produce it.
I'm going to say this, and I've got some of my past students that were this way. What makes me feel really, really good as a teacher is when I see that they've surpassed me.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they've surpassed me, and I'm like, there was a time I might could have kept up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying that I know everything, because I sure don't.
He's
There's
a very
lot
he's
to
a
learn.
very good shooter, but I'll tell you the first thing is he was safe. So that lets me know, let me know is he'd spent some time with some guns, because the first thing I noticed is he was shooting, he's coming off that trigger, he's holding it up, he's turning away from it, he's doing everything right on that count, which takes a load off of me. I'm like, man, this is great. So you don't have to deal with that. You can go straight to the instruction and teaching,
Yeah.
So-
he wouldn't let me touch a rifle till we'd been through all this other stuff.
Now let's talk about how this applies to an accurate rifle. because I love teaching through stories. I love that's when you said he was coming tonight, and he's told me a little bit about y'all's time together. I've heard you talk about it, so it's kind of I got to.
You feel like you were there.
Well, no, now I get a much bigger. I get to see the whole
broader
big picture,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of exciting
Yeah.
for me. But what we're talking about are principles. What did Derek teach you? How to hold the gun, right? Same thing with a rifle.
Triggers and sights or triggers and sights.
How do you hold the gun? How do you address the trigger?
There's steps to it.
Yeah.
Even shooting a pistol, guys, believe it or not, your breathing becomes part of it.
Yep. Yeah. Because a lot of people hold their breath.
It's not just in, they talk about,
It
Me.
happens. It happens.
Me.
It has people.
I've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're trying to steady that gun.
Yeah, and then you just
Just right.
pass out and you get killed anyway.
Turn blue. Hey, you want to get up and shoot some?
But
It happens.
So,
I've seen it numerous times.
Nerves.
the whole thing on the rifle is it's the same thing. Getting on the rifle. How do you get on the rifle? How do you get on the gun? And by that, how do you grip it? Where does your face need to be? How does your finger need to address the trigger? How do you get your breathing in sync? How do you get your heart rate in sync?
Yeah. And all that, you're never going to get to that point if you're not shooting the gun.
Right.
If you're not behind it, if you're not trial and error, if you're not experimenting, whatever you want to say,
And
you're not spending time with it. You're
here's
never
the thing, you guys, people hear me, we talk about scopes and everything, and among us, we talk about them, and I'm Night Force.
Yeah.
Um,
He's just throwing
But-
around Night Force.
let me tell you, you can take a Night Force ATACer.
Yeah, when Tom started shooting, they didn't have scopes.
Yeah.
No,
18, I believe he said 1895. Something
That's
like
what I
that.
heard.
Actually, in 1895, we did.
damn.
We did. They were about this long. They were about this big
We've all
around.
seen Quigley. Yeah. That's great.
He could shoot so good because of his mustache, though.
Yeah.
But you made me lose my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Addressing the trigger.
Yeah, when you're addressing the trigger, where does your finger really need to place on that trigger? But what I was going to say is, I know where I was at. Night Force. But
That was
you can take,
$3,000 right there.
you can take,
It was.
buy a great rifle, put the best scope on there,
Yep. You can have all the
and-
premium stuff.
and load it with the best ammunition,
And still shoot like
and
that.
Yep.
it's,
If you don't put the time in on the
if you
gun.
don't put the time in on the gun.
No.
And if you're out there, here's what I say: not all trigger time is good time. Because if you're out there and you call yourself trying to train, and you're trying to train by yourself,
Man.
and I'm not saying there's not some people that are capable of it,
Sure.
but I don't really know anybody that was ever really, 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 really great at it
Well, you
that
end
trained completely by themselves.
up, right.
Didn't-
Well, you end up messing around.
Right.
Not sticking to it.
But the other thing is, you pick up habits. You get bad habits.
I can agree.
You
with
get detrimental habits, and that's why I like to shoot with somebody that at least shoots at my level, preferably somebody that shoots at a higher level. When I go to shoot, so if I am picking up if I'm letting bad habits creep in, or I've gotten lazy and I'm not doing something I should be doing, I've got somebody go, hey man, look, need to,
Yeah. Let's do this.
let's fix this,
And you see it, and it's good to shoot with people like that, and to have those connections or those contacts, because in the end, it's not trying to say, Tom, you're better than me, I'm better than you. It's like, hey, don't forget don't forget this.
How many times? Let's go back to middle of last year when you called me and you said, "Hey, check this out. I'm tweaking my grip a little bit."
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Talk about a light bulb moment, gumball moment, like mind
It's
exploded. You're
funny
like,
when he
"Hey,
calls it a gumball.
you know
moment. It's
that." Well, if you've never seen a gumball explode from that far away, anyway, then
What's
you don't know
fun
what
is
you're
when you see,
missing.
when you see a golf ball explode at 1,000 yards from here.
I ain't seen
I've
that
not
yet,
done
but
that yet.
I know it's coming.
I'm not.
But when
I have
you're
either.
bouncing ideas off of each other,
I've seen it. I haven't done it.
like when you're bouncing ideas off of each other, your peers and things like that,
Right.
and someone calls you and says, "Hey, check this out, but tweak it just a touch," and then your whole life changes again.
Yeah, and it's just something I
Time on the
learned from
gun.
shooting. It's just
Just like
something
what
that I
Tom's talking
did.
about.
You know, I adjusted this. Like I was shooting, and all of a sudden, when I gripped the pistol, I was like, "This don't feel right, but I'm gonna try this." It was just an odd thing. It was just a little bit of adjustment from shooting faster, and then I tried it, and it locked it even more with just a slight little whatever, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
It's like, Derek and I were talking earlier. The thing everybody's taught now is shoot with your thumbs forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were
Right.
saying it doesn't feel right to you.
Okay, I was trained forever because I come up in the revolver world. We shot revolvers and 1911s.
Yep. And I started shooting revolvers too as a kid. That's
And
all my dad had.
You lock those thumbs on the side. You sure didn't get that thumb up there in front
No,
of the cylinder.
blow your skin.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
would do that.
boom.
That's a self-correcting problem.
Yes.
Right.
So you learn.
Yeah.
You learn to shoot
Yeah.
with your thumbs locked to the side. Right.
Yep,
Right.
lock. But and also normally most of these cartridges are bigger, 357, 44. So
And-
you better hold on to them.
You
Yeah.
know, and
Yep.
starting when I was very young, shooting a 45, you lock the fingers. You just lock them to the side. Nobody ever told me. And matter of fact, back then it was preached. Do not put your thumb forward.
Yeah. And techniques, they
Do
evolve.
not.
They do.
And if you watched, as you started to seeing that technique coming, this would be, maybe mid 80s.
Yeah, I'm gonna say early 90s.
You started seeing some of, but they would put slide protectors so that your thumb wouldn't ride over on the slide and slow it down.
Slow it down. Yep. Make the gun malfunction.
I've not seen one of those.
Oh yeah, that was a big deal. And they had like ledges too, also for like what we would call a gas pedal now. They had these
Old, I'm
ledges.
not.
But you were taught forever. Do not, especially because when I learned, I was learning how to shoot to hunt, how to shoot to fight.
Survive the gunfight,
Crazy
So-
concept.
which I've not been in.
It was
Hopefully
get a hold
never.
of the gun and hold the gun.
Hold the hell out of it.
Okay. Get the damn gun and hold it. Because what you didn't want is what happened to you with the practice gun.
Yeah, get it
Yeah,
snatched
tell your-
right away.
exactly.
From me. I did not drop it. Let me say that. I did not
And-
lose the gun.
and
No,
I
I just
will-
pulled him around a 6 or 8.
Y'all
yard
look like a
radius.
pit bull on a chain.
But
P number 2.
I will tell you this: as far as a fighting grip, this is stronger than this.
Yeah. You mean there's science behind this, Tom?
Oh my goodness.
Cut it out. You're talking foolishness.
Now this will get you through a match.
Right, yeah.
This will get you through a fight.
I can tell you for me, I'm a 1911 guy. I carry one pretty much. I mean, my job requires me to carry a Glock that I can now shoot because of training, proper instruction, and spending time on the gun, the mechanics, the same way all the time, and doing it at home and doing it on the range and having somebody watch me, just like what we've been talking about. But for me, my thumbs, they're locked. They're not straight forward and they're not down. They're more of a up angle just because I have, 12-year-old girl hands. It works better for me.
And here's the thing:
Full
this is,
transparency, you can see them.
this is what I say to people. If it works and you're shooting accurately and you're shooting consistently and you can hold on to the gun, far be it for me to tell you to change.
Right, if it's working for you.
Now, if it's something that's going to get you hurt,
Yeah.
if it's, because let's face it, what my job was I trained people how to fight.
Right, yeah. Big difference.
If it's something that was going to get you hurt, something that was going to make your grip get weaker, any of those kind of things, then we might need to talk about it.
Sure. But you only knew those things through training.
Right. And again, So we're running out of people. It's all about spending time on the gun. Spending time with the gun, getting to know the gun. It's the attention to detail. If we've gone through getting a good action, that everything mates up, that we got a great barrel, it's chambered well, we put it in a good chassis or stock, we've got a nice trigger, we've got everything bolted to specs. Now we need to adjust the nut on the trigger. And that is only done by getting behind the rifle, spending time with the rifle. And it don't mean you shoot 500 rounds when you go. If you're really training with the rifle, you're not gonna have time to shoot that much.
Well, it's not
Per
gonna be
trip,
productive.
per
It's not gonna be
trip.
productive.
It's
Sure.
not.
Yeah. You're saying spending intimate time with that weapon.
And
How many
you
times
know,
you heard me say that, John?
Oh God.
yeah, I can remember when they used to tell us you got to shoot 250 rounds a day. You got to shoot 250 rounds a day. You got to shoot, and
Not
we did.
necessarily. Not
We
necessarily.
did. But I could tell you after about the first 100, I could stay in it, stay focused. You know, but that last 150, a lot of times, it was just to hear the steel ding. Or,
Yeah.
You know, whatever. I wasn't. That last part of it, I was not as intense into it
Yeah.
as I was through that first 100 or 100.
Well, and maybe you got
something.
somewhere to be too. You know, maybe you got
You
somewhere
got
to be.
kids.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah. I
You know.
remember a particular day like what you're talking about. Derek and he called me and said, "Hey, we're going to run rifles tomorrow. Bring your stuff." I was like, "Okay." We never made it through one full magazine of ammo, and we spent 7 hours
yeah,
shooting. We're talking about semis, ARs. I never
It's still
shot
the
an
same.
entire magazine.
it's still the same. Whether you're shooting a Glock pistol, a 1911, a nice bolt gun, a lever gun, an AR, the principle is the same.
Yeah. And in this particular day he's talking about, you know, let's just say we sat up there and we shot 2 rounds from this, and it's like, all right, this and that and that. We wasn't trying not to shoot. It was
No.
just good conversation. He had good questions. I was trying to answer best of my ability. We go to a different stage or maybe a different, you know, position, shoot the rifle.
scenario.
And he's like, why are we this far back, or why are we doing this, whatever. It was an explanation there.
Yeah.
Good questions, good banter, you know.
It's
Cover and concealment day. Dude,
Yeah.
that tore me up.
Yeah.
you know what 50's good for?
Defeating both of
Punching
those
through.
other things I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Punching through 9 feet of concrete.
It turns cover into maybe concealment.
Right. Well, it ain't really concealment when it's got a hole in it this big and you can see through the house.
It turns cover into spatter.
Yeah,
So,
it's dusty from there on.
It's fun.
The thing is, it all gets back to what we said. What I said at the very first of last week's episode is attention to detail, whether it's in the hardware and especially in the shooter. Now, I hope we've told some good, funny stories tonight. We've done some things that people will enjoy.
Yeah, I enjoyed it for sure.
Hope we said some things that will last. Maybe stick in your mind. Maybe something that'll encourage you to go and find a good instructor. Actually, we happen to be in a part of the country where we're pretty
You have some good
fortunate, because you got within easy driving distance several.
Yep, you have tactical response.
Yep.
Valor Ridge.
Valor Ridge is very good. I've not been to Valor Ridge, but I'm tactical response alumni. You have Dover, Tennessee, at Hilltop Firearms Training there.
Yep. I remember that when it was Rattlesnake Ridge.
Yeah. Yep. You have Jamie Spalding in Troy, Tennessee Armed Response.
Yep.
I've been over to Farmington, Missouri to train to a place called Asymmetric Solutions. It's like kind of St. Louis area, 3.5 hours. Fantastic facility.
K&M.
K&N, oh man, like repping right now, K&N. fantastic. The most premier, organized, nice, like golf course manicured shooting range you'll go to. It's unbelievable in Finger, Tennessee. Unbelievable place.
And can I say something about training just real quick?
Yeah. As
No
long as you
matter
can see your way clear.
is the camera. Oh. No, I would say no matter what your, we'll call them handicap is for whatever reason, by spending time with instruction and proper training and throwing myself out there on the limb, you know, to possibly look like a fool or not, but just to learn something. You know, I'm right-handed, lost my right eye, so for years I shot a rifle off my left shoulder because that's what everyone told me I had to do.
When you say that, where did the information come from?
YouTube.
There you go, YouTube. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but that's the simple solution. But
Right.
that wasn't. That was the quick fix. That was the Band-Aid. But that was not.
That was probably people not training.
Right. And that's my point. So if I hadn't spent time on the range, literally in the mud and in the rain.
Yeah, it was so nasty that day.
Dude, and on the edge of the river. And so I'm shooting my gun off my left side.
It was an AK.
Yeah, it was an underfolder AK.
Wasser.
Beat your chin to death if it's not wrapped.
Yeah, I wrapped it in paracord for him.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah, after my jaw looked like I got bee stung. And he was like, "Are you okay? Are you putting your face on that? Don't do that."
That was me after a Tommy gun.
I still want to shoot one of those. But he said, "Hey, why don't you?" We were shooting around cover, and I said, "Well, I can't do that."
He was exposing himself heavily.
Yeah, and that's difficult to do.
Yeah.
Like it's difficult to do to say, you know, to your peer, the guy you're looking up to, learning from, spending time with, like, I can't do that. And I should have known better because what he said was, well, he told you couldn't do that. And I was like, well, you know, my right eye's gone. And he's like, what does that have to do with anything? He's like, have you tried it?
No.
I said, well, no. I haven't tried it. It's just the way I done it. Well, why? Well,
Let's try it. Let's try it.
he said, just what your exact words were, stop talking, put your gun on the right shoulder.
Asshole moment.
And I said, yeah, but I won't be able to see it. He said, just turn it.
Slightly. Wasn't like an
it's
extreme
not, like I
turn.
wasn't holding it
Maybe 60
sideways like it
degrees,
came
you
out of
know?
the box. I just, I put it on my right shoulder and I just turned it. I mean, just a touch.
To his good eye.
To my good eye, yeah. Right-handed, left eye dominant, obviously. And all of a sudden, like, this beautiful red glow of the red dot comes into view, and he's like, now shoot the target.
Bang.
I never would have done that if I hadn't put myself out there and been taught the right way to do things.
And be
Willing.
to admit,
Yeah, it's tough.
you know, and that's the thing I think that people have to overcome, you know.
That pride.
Oh, man.
And, you know, I guarantee you all three of us have had those moments ourselves.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, a bunch of them.
Well, there's always somebody going to be better than you doing
Yeah.
something, no matter
Yeah.
what it is. You know?
And
And you're like, damn, that guy's good.
Yeah.
You know.
But if you want to be that, you got to listen to the guy who's been there and done that.
Yeah. You got to seek out the right training. And that's what our whole
Principles.
discussion is about. The principles. What
principles.
fundamentals will make you a better shooter and how to get there.
And, you know, I have people in here every week. And I know when you worked retail counter, you worked retail counter.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
People come in, I need a laser, I need this, I need that. Cause
They're wanting a cheat code.
Yeah,
it's
there
gonna
ain't one.
It's going to make me shoot better. I'm like,
You have to like.
no, I actually say it.
He does.
I'm like, if that's what you want, far be it.
We have them.
We have them.
We'll sell them to you.
Absolutely. They'll be like, well, why do you put it that way? That's because you didn't ask me, so I should keep my mouth shut, but we don't recommend them.
Right.
And they're like, why? I
People
said,
get dependent on them.
one, you try to get dependent on it. Two, it slows you down.
Yeah.
Three, it gives you a false sense of security.
Yeah, there's all
And
all
that
these
was
things.
that was me
Four,
before instruction.
You know, people won't change their car battery till the car won't start.
100%. Not me. Not me. I do not want to get stranded.
But you know what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely. That's the norm.
That's a fact.
That's
And
the norm.
do you think they're going to keep an eye on the battery? No. We see them come in here going, I got
Well,
this out the other day, and
My laser's not working.
my laser.
My
switch
red
broke.
dot's dead.
You're trying to get into it. And,
What kind
you
of
know, the-
battery does it take? I don't know.
It's whatever came in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no clue.
So, most people are not going to maintain it.
Nope.
And I'm like, well, actually, you would be far better off to take the money that you want to spend on a laser and go get you some ammo
Goes right back to
And a-
what John was saying.
and a good trainer
That's a fact.
and spend the money on some training and some ammo and learn to shoot
But
the
they
gun.
just will not. They fight that so hard, and I don't know why.
Because there's so many of them, it's too lazy to go shoot.
I agree with that too. But a lot of times it exposes, and I'm sure you agree, they expose where they're lacking, and they're uncomfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they're insecure about it for whatever reason. It's like, dude,
Nobody ever grows in comfort.
No.
it's like,
Pain.
you know, you
Yeah,
hadn't just
we'll teach you
wouldn't
far
just
more.
come out of the womb being a 6-gunner or whatever the hell.
John Wick.
You know, yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
It's not gonna happen.
So
And
like,
he's got a script writer.
yeah, exactly.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
Like put the time in, load the mags, jam them up, buy you some mags, buy you some ammo, buy one gun, just like a samurai, and get
Man.
proficient with that gun, and know that gun, become intimate with that gun, and you don't have to worry about nothing else.
You know-
You'll just know it. As soon as you push it out, you'll know that's a hit.
I got one or two points I want to bring out. Okay?
Yeah.
One, we talk so much about training, and people, if you listen to some people talk, a lot of people, oh, I train and I do this and I do this and, and
They like to tell you too.
and
They like to tell you.
and you're just sitting there watching it. You're like,
Yep. You're like,
no. But and don't get me wrong, I'm not putting. I love the battle worn look of Cerakote on a gun.
Sure. It looks awesome.
Okay, it does. You can
conditioned.
create some really cool effects and patterns.
oh, this is funny. I know where this is going. This is great.
But when you get these guys that want to buy a gun that looks like it's wore out, so they can tell people how much they trained,
Dude.
it happens.
Oh, I already know, and I have people all the time ask me, like right now, there's a SBR Virtus in my truck, underneath my seat, goes with me everywhere, Tennessee. It's spray painted. Like that's my jam. Like
Ruined it.
I do not want to take care of that gun. I mean, so far as like I'm
Externally.
gonna make it my own, and they're like, I cannot believe you spray painted this gun. I'm like, that's how I want it. Like I don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna leave it whatever. Like that's my jam, and it is beat to shit and rubbed off all over the place.
I
You know why?
remember the day
Because
he-
I've shot the hell out of it.
But yours got there honest.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I'm not.
You ain't go buy one that they made look wore out.
No.
So you
I
could.
love using those guns.
I've
and
seen him
wearing
slide them
out.
across the concrete.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, John saw me slide a Sega AK across the concrete. At
Yeah,
South Street one time.
$4,000 AK.
behind the counter, like whatever. You know, he's like, why'd you paint it? I was like, 'cause of this.
Yeah,
Slid
and
across
it
the
came
floor.
flying at my feet. And I was like, Jesus, is that gonna go off?
It's not loaded. It's not loaded.
No.
But like, I just don't give a shit. It's a gun. It's a tool, and I know that gets repeated a lot. But for me, that's exactly what I mean. I don't ever buy one and say, look at this. Isn't this nice? Check this out. This was made in 1982. I only made 17 of them. I don't give a shit about any of that. I want the gun to work, and it needs to do what I need it to do. That's it.
Properly
I'm
set
not saying
up.
it has to be spray painted. I'm just saying, like, most of my go-to guns, my especially ARs, AKs, are spray painted. Because I beat the shit out of them. And I don't think nothing about it. I don't think anything about using that gun. I never take a wrench and be like, oh my God, it's got a scratch on it.
No.
Not one time. Not one time. So it's the same thing with my guns. I got a scratch on it. I'm like, hell yeah, Tom, look at that. That's a
Do you know
6-inch
how that got
gash in
there?
Yeah, yeah. Look at that Noveski right there. Like we were talking about earlier. That Noveski of Lance's up there. Like the rail was it was too long. Yeah, he just cut it with a Dremel or some shit. You know, it's hilarious. That's the kind of shit I do. I mean, is it not? We were just talking about it earlier. Like he don't
Yeah.
care. He wants the use of the gun. You know, I'm not concerned about that kind of ridiculous stuff to take pictures of. I don't buy it to take pictures of. I buy pictures to squeeze that trigger and see results and to maintain my level of proficiency.
So we talked about people with worn out guns, buying guns that they
I believe the term is
look worn out.
posers.
That was coming to mind quickly.
that would be.
Don't hold back. Tell us what you feel.
Want a base.
Well, I'm just saying, you know,
You're not going to ever learn anything. Those guys
here's,
are
they're
never going to
not
learn anything.
because they are now their own worst enemy.
You don't have to be scared of them. They can't hurt you after work.
That's the truth. Yeah,
Because the red dots
saying
ain't zeroed, even if their guns are scratched.
Well, that's
You know, and I really kind of feel sorry
I'm
for
just
them.
telling you.
I feel sorry for those people. I'm not trying to make fun of them.
no.
no. It is. I mean, I know.
You know,
You just wish they saw it differently.
you wish they could see reality.
Yeah.
You know, I know the reality for me right now is I am nowhere near as fast as I used to be. I am probably not as accurate because I don't shoot as much.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely dialed it back too. You know, we got to work. We got
I've
shit
not.
to do.
I'm still.
You know.
You know, I know shooting is a perishable skill.
Sure. Yeah.
And if you're not maintaining that, it goes down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I probably shoot a rifle right now better than I've ever shot one in my life.
Well, and that's probably what your focus is right now. You
Well,
know,
I
your
mean,
focus. You've probably
when
been
I
more
get-
dedicated to
Well,
that.
when I get to go shoot now, it's usually shooting a rifle we built
And that's where I've been the past 2 years. I've been dedicated more to
Is-
the,
is
long range stuff.
shooting the rifles and getting them to group and trying to, make sure I'm not holding the rifle back.
And it's nice for me too to have a slower pace because I've run and gun. I guess you could say done that for 15 plus years.
Well, I mean,
So it's nice just to relax and enjoy a good fire.
fine
A
weapon.
good.
it's
bow gun.
shooting a nice precision bolt gun at range is kind of the equivalent of sitting back on the porch with a good bourbon and cigar.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Love it. Great analogy.
Shall
I'm
I
with
get
you
the rocking
100%.
chair?
I'm with you 100% on that.
Yeah.
But I have a question for you, John.
Sir.
Your right eye is the one that's missing, right? So you only have your left eye.
Correct.
Does that mean you can only see Biden and Kamala and the Democrats? Can you not see Mr. Trump and the rest of the good guys?
Oh my goodness, that was so bad.
Depends on what side of the stage they're on. But I can tell you this:
Oh goodness.
the dates that you would pass over are only half as ugly as they are to me. I got a lot more options than you got.
See, I can do this. Put a patch over
I
it.
just do like this right here.
There you go.
If they cook good, that's
Keep
the main
the, keep
thing.
the standard high on the firearms training, low on everything.
Well, I don't. No, they're
Except
moral
your bourbon.
character.
Except your
Oh.
bourbon.
I got to keep the bourbon
No,
standard high.
Good bourbon.
Bourbon
Yeah.
standards. Got to be.
yeah. I mean, if her right foot's club, I'll never know.
Oh God, that's hilarious. Club right foot.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't take a drink at that moment.
Well, like I said, I hope we've created some comedy
Yeah.
tonight,
For sure.
and I hope we've been able to put the principles across. Because, with John, he's got every excuse in the world,
Exactly. And that's one thing I like about
but
him.
excuses don't help you. Excuses don't stretch you and make you grow.
No.
Excuses hold you back, they hold you down, and they keep you bound.
Well, he will tell you. That's what I was saying. I like about John is he will tell you his excuses. He will be honest about it. Take accountability for that,
And then go
tell you.
and then kick its ass.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. And it's perfectly normal to feel a little uncertain about something. You're like,
Sure.
man, I've never tried that. Or whatever, or whether it's the thumb grip or it's rotating the rifle, whatever it is. Try it. At least try it. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you.
Right.
I equate training with driving a car. The first time I ever drove a car, I was a nervous freaking wreck. I had never done it.
Yeah.
There's always fear
And I bet
of
the
the
person in the
unknown.
passenger seat was too.
Right. Scared to hell. Oh, my God.
Well, we're not going to talk about that. I didn't know if they were scared or not because the one that I have was on the road. So we'll just leave that there, But in all honesty, if you've never done it before, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know, and you have to be willing to like, do you want to be better?
Because the reward is so beneficial. Once you get
Oh,
over that
God.
little hump there, that hesitation, the reward is.
Yeah. Well, and even something as simple as going and taking a firearms class from, or a rifle class, or learning how to build these things, it applies to everything.
Yeah, and you got to crawl before you walk.
Right. Oh,
You know.
yeah.
And what we're talking about tonight specifically is firearms,
Yeah.
but these principles apply to everything you'll ever do in life.
That's true.
Yeah. I was so scared when I lost my eye. I'm a musician. I was so scared when I lost my eye. I was scared of everything.
Oh, I'm sure.
And
That's a traumatic experience.
Yeah. Oh God, dude, it's insane. Like, I went in my room as a musician because I was afraid, God, I was gonna go blind, and I turned off the lights in my room and I just play guitar and drums in the dark, just to make sure I could still do it if something were to ever happen again.
Just look at
yeah,
Jeff
I can
Healy.
see that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I didn't know who that was back then.
Oh,
I know.
He's
Don't-
amazing,
Don't
though.
crucify me. I know who he is now. You can bet that. But what I'm saying is like, fear forces you, and being uncomfortable forces you to be better.
It can.
It can't. Yeah. If you allow it to cripple you and kill you, it will every single time.
well, you have a choice.
Yeah. You have
You
to
know,
be willing.
Here's the thing: in a lot of ways, I gave up. I had that little stroke, and I was a drummer.
That's the first thing I played too.
And afterwards, and to this day, I can play it with my feet or I can play it with my hands, but I can't put them together.
Well, a stroke will affect you like that.
So I was like, okay, this ain't going to work. So I put the drumsticks down, got a bass guitar.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Adapt and overcome.
We're about to get funky.
And I put that down for a long time, and I got to wanting to get back into it here a year or two ago. And Stephanie actually went and bought it, just so because I probably wouldn't have done it for myself. I wanted to do it. I was thinking about it,
That's an A1 human being.
God,
but
right
I
in
probably
hand with
I
training.
wouldn't have done it for myself.
Yeah.
But so she goes and buys me a guitar,
That's cool.
and then for Christmas she gets me a better guitar and an amp.
What a human.
So, you can choose to lay down.
Yeah.
It's like, this eye's not that great because what a lot of people don't realize, the reason I keep my eyebrows thick is all the scar tissue. This is all
Right.
scar tissue from a car wreck. And this eye gets really, really, really tired.
Mm-hmm.
I was born left-handed, taught to be right-handed. But I was telling Derek earlier, if you watch me shoot now, I've got so much trauma in this part of my face. You'll watch the pistol move from eye to eye.
Right, yeah.
It's like self-adjusting some kind
Yeah.
of.
I can't do that.
And I don't know you can.
Can't do that.
Yeah, you could use the force.
I can shoot it upside down, but I can't do that. Yeah.
I used to.
I was forced into that as well.
But you make him do that.
I
Yeah,
admit
that's the
nothing.
first time he
I
ever
admit
cussed me
nothing.
because I was arguing with him.
Deny everything. Make counter accusations.
Yeah, well,
I used to have an old Model 66
I can tell you he's a
Smith
liar and a fat mouth. He made me do it.
that I had a real slick trigger on it. Probably wasn't safe.
He said probably wouldn't say.
Yeah, I wouldn't throw it down.
No, I wouldn't drop it.
He's like, I knew what he'd do. That's all.
But I could hold it upside down, shoot with my pinky, and do pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Has happened. Because the sight picture is a sight picture. It's the
sight
same.
picture, sight
Whether it's
picture.
inverted or not, it's the same.
Yeah,
You just got to get past it in your head.
Sideways is a little different.
Well,
just a touch.
You got to kind of throw it. Remember, you got to curve it.
yeah.
Oh,
Put the
you know,
Angelinas in
Ethan
left.
taught.
You know-
He told me a story about curving those.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I could tell you some stories about that. Well, I mean, if we just that's the rabbit hole y'all want to go down, I could tell you again. I had 4 strokes, and it's all his fault.
When you're really, really good, you can put a flat metal surface with the turn the way you want it, shoot it, bounce the bullet, and hit what you want to.
Are you kidding?
No,
No comment.
You got to be conditioned real well to do
No
that.
comment.
There might be a story there. We're not going to talk about it.
So funny.
Yeah, I could tell you I seen somebody
funny.
shoot their phone one time.
Yeah, I set up a phone one time. Set up a phone one time, and I was like, hey, set it up. to film it, whatever. I was talking to John about skipping bullets off target, and I was like, I'm gonna skip this bullet off this target at this target. So it's like you see, and I had a can of paint sitting right there. My phone leaned up against the paint.
Oh,
So it hit the target. It said bling bling, hit that. But then the spalling hit that paint. Just a little bit of that spalling hit that can of paint. Went and it just paints the phone green. And you hear me going, "Oh God, oh God!" Like potty mouth stuff, like you know. That was so funny. I don't have that video anymore. But there's been I actually took a class a long time ago, and in this class they were talking about like say you've got this workbench over here and it's straight metal. And they were showing us how to direct bullets straight down because that bullet will follow that path of that metal. And show us how to, not necessarily glance or curve the bullet, but it will follow that path of that straight steel, metal. And I was showing
Just
that.
like a bone.
Exactly. And I showed that to John, and John's like, "That's the craziest shit I've ever seen."
I almost quit shooting.
And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "So if somebody thinks they're safe, and it's potentially this and that, I'm like, you can send that bullet straight into them with the right surface."
Yeah, you don't get paid to think if that's what you think.
He's like, "That's
it's-
ridiculous."
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I haven't tried to bounce bullets in years, but
I enjoy it.
it's really fun. Now we used to, on a ship and you trying to go around a corner, and you get this big steel gangway going out
There
through
you
there,
go. Yep.
and you don't know if the bad guys are or not. You stick your shotgun out there, point it at the floor, and pull the trigger.
You'll know.
yeah. If he was there, he ain't no more.
It's kind of like a mini claymore
Jeez. Exactly.
because it's bouncing everywhere.
Yep.
I would need safety glasses.
He said I would need.
Yeah,
May or may not work
a
efficiently.
minimal of a monocle.
A monocle. There you
Yes, minimal monocle.
Well, I just stayed on the other side of the steel wall.
go. Exactly.
Yeah, but
Bad guy had no choice.
yeah,
Bad guy had no choice.
yeah.
No.
That's
Well, hey.
The other guy I had cruel intentions for.
Well, I think we have had a good discussion on this.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it. It's been fun.
Anything else anyone want to add?
Derek, are you available currently to do training for people?
Yes, I don't do it full time, but I do it on my days off. I do have a full time job, but I work a 4-on 4-off schedule. So I book people who want private instruction on those days off. So they can reach out to me through Facebook, Derek Whitson on there.
Or Bruises and Brews?
Bruises and Brews, yep.
Derek's podcast.
I do a podcast called Bruises and Brews. We
Fantastic show.
have a few brews and sometimes some bourbon and different things, and we talk about people's stories, and it's fun. Started doing that about a year or so ago. A good friend of mine, Gary Mosley, he and I do it, and just tell people stories. It's fun. It's something apart from guns, Like
Yeah.
I enjoy shooting guns. Firearms have always been a part of my life, and something my dad taught me responsibility with from a young age. But that's not all it is to me and my character and everything.
Right.
So they can reach out to me or contact me. You know how to get a hold of me. You can get my number or whatever. But if you're interested in like showing off or this and that, like that's not my jam. Like I love to do this. I love to teach people and watch people learn. And I'm not trying to, be better than anybody else or criticize other people for their level of training or what they do. Like I just do what I do and I enjoy it.
And you can teach handgun, rifle.
Yep, handgun, rifle, and shotgun. Anything pretty much anybody wants to learn. If you got grenades, I'll throw some.
I got a friend that's here now. He's just retired from the Mets as a pitcher.
Wow.
He was actually watching earlier.
Was he on tonight?
Yeah.
Awesome.
He might could help with the grenade part.
There you go. Sounds good.
Well,
But yeah, so and
see,
John,
professional training.
Back to John, like that's why I invited him tonight, is because John when we first started training together, like I could tell he was very uncomfortable with it. But once he come and he was like, okay, there's something to this, and he's consistently come ever since. And he works a lot, just like a lot of people do. But when he can come, he tries to dedicate, 5 or 6 hours, and we put in the work and we get some stuff done. But John is one of the, especially for a person one eye, I'm not picking on him or whatever, a person one eye who has dedicated herself and has that, handicap, if you will. John shoots very good. He is always safe, and he is very proficient in multiple firearms because he is dedicated to
It is.
time.
I have
not
heard-
just with me, but with other places. He's trained with Steve Fisher.
Sentinel Concepts.
Yeah, Sentinel Concepts, and he's just
I have heard
he's
he's
stuck with it.
more or less now a top tier shooter.
He's a very good shooter. I would put him in the
Humbly.
top category, and never arrogant about it. Always wants to learn more, and a lot of times I'm like, damn, John, like you shoot just as good as I do. I don't know what you're talking about, you know. But we always have a good time. We laugh. We rank on one another and talk mess. But what better time to have than safely on the range with
People
good
that you
friends?
love.
Yep, and you're learning and you're becoming better through the relationship. You know,
Iron sharpens iron.
there you go. Yep.
My battery's dying over here.
Okay.
And we got 20% left here.
So here it is, guys.
I'm so sorry.
You guys are welcome anytime.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Always feel welcome
Thank
coming
you
into
so
WHMC.
much
Thanks for having
Yep,
me.
thank
for
you, Tom.
coming tonight.
Appreciate you, brother.
John, I appreciate you being
Thank
as
you,
open
Stephanie.
and honest
Yes, sir.
and
My
forth.
pleasure.
I hope we've helped people.
I hope y'all come back.
And
Do this again.
We
Yeah,
will
be
be.
great.
hey,
Y'all pray for me that I don't spend no money before I get out of here.
we ought to
Dude, you got 30 minutes?
We
I
ought to,
called in for 30 minutes.
we ought to do a fun range video.
Yeah,
That would be fun.
Oh yeah.
And I'm talking about some trick shooting stuff.
Uh-oh.
I'm talking about some fun stuff.
Here we go.
I'll close one eye and shoot anything you want me to.
Yeah. He put it out there.
He'll do it with one eye. With the one eye.
Yeah.
One eye closed.
That's right.
What more can you ask for?
What if we make him close his left eye?
I bet he can do it. 'cause
Hand me
we've
a
done that
shotgun.
too. We've done that too.
And just spin me in the right direction.
It's hilarious.
I'll just shoot where I hear noise. How about
I
that?
feel smarter. I'm finished with this.
Well,
The whole thing,
Oh, he
I feel
finished his
smarter
too.
already.
I feel like my fake eyes floating. I drank one too.
All right. So, guys, we're running out of time. We're 2.5 hours tonight.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yes,
I hope
yeah.
everybody enjoys it. I hope at least one person will watch all the way through.
I will definitely.
Thank
I'll
You know,
watch
I
it
hope,
once it
I hope
gets
one
uploaded.
person watches all
100%.
the whole 2.5 hours.
As good looking as you are, they probably will.
You know, flattery will get you everywhere.
I'm half blind, dude. Take that with a grain of salt.
So,
Lance just popped on, so y'all say hi to Lance.
Hey,
hi,
Lance.
Lance.
Yep. Thank you for always being super cool, always making me feel welcome.
Thanks for
Appreciate
giving
you,
me a
brother.
job.
And also, Lance referred one of the best books I've ever read called Wild at Heart. One day I come in here, we were talking about different things. We always have great discussions like this because I'm a nerd when it comes to reading. And he handed me a book and he said, read this book. And I won't say for myself it was life-changing, but it was definitely eye-opening. It was a great book, and he and I talk about it pretty
It's a
regularly.
great
It's
book.
a fantastic book. And the book is from a biblical perspective of a man, what it means to be a man, why we chase beauty, why we like war, why we crave violence, like all these things. It's a fantastic book. So thank you, Lance, for that. I'll never forget that. Very much appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, guys. So, that's going to wrap up tonight's episode. And as always, we're going to leave you with this. God bless America, and God bless you.